Hi, hello, how's everyone doing? Welcome in, everybody. I am so sorry for one that we're starting as late as we are. Um, the really fun thing is that I had to move my whole setup to my dining room table to do the stream yesterday that we did with the Dance Central thing, and I had to move it all back into my office space because I don't want to be sitting out there because it has weird audio. But the problem with that is that it disconnected all my shit and I had to restart everything, and that took so long. I was gonna start like half an hour ago or 40 minutes ago at this point. Jesus. Um, but you know what? It is what it is. There's a lot going on here. But anyways, congrats on getting first Fishy. Congrats on getting second Leo. Congrats on getting third Peanut. Actually, let me also just turn this on because I have music for the background of most of this. Hopefully this is not too loud. We'll see. Let me know if the music in the background is too much or if it's enough. Anyways, yes, congrats on getting third Peanut Piano. Hi Tony. Hi Puppo. Bagels. I'm sorry you didn't get any of the first. This is like one of the. People rarely even notice them. Usually people get them like an hour later. Good evening, Dits. Hi, Helicopter. Oh, God, I'm so nervous for this. Hi, Nyansame. Welcome in. That's been there the whole time, I promise. Thanks for the follow, Loaf Man. Days since someone has acknowledged the mpreg tag counter stays at 0. But yeah, so we are going to do predictions as well. We're not going to do it for victims because, as I'll explain, the simulation isn't great at handling that in a way that would be useful for the predictions, but we'll see. We will do it for the Blackened, though, so you'll be able to guess who you think the bad guys are. But I'll say this. I'm glad you're able to stick around for as long as you can for Fishy. If not, this will go up on the VoD's channel immediately tomorrow, like 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, which, speaking of, if you would like to keep track of it and aren't going to be here the whole time but want to see, you can find that over here. Hi, Kirs and stuff. Welcome in. So, this is a bit of an anxious thing. This is this is from Danganronpa 2. This is called Beautiful Ruin (parentheses Somersault). I planned on having a bunch more music as the background stuff, but it really wasn't cooperating, and I ran out of time to try and make it cooperate. So we're gonna be listening to a lot of the same few tracks. Okay. I mean, yeah, I guess someone's probably gonna get some head injuries, hopefully. But yeah, welcome in, Leo. I'm sorry that you got stuck in the void. But yeah, so this is a little bit of a weird thing that I'm doing, and I realize that. So also, first of all, I hope you like the background. The background makes me very happy. This was by, let me see if I can find them again. Where are they in here? Airbus Ramo. They made this as a 3D world, or a world in VR Studios, or VR chat. Words are hard. You can find it at their Twitter. And they were very, very charitable. They were very, very kind letting me do this. You're not late, Cat, I promise. We're still just getting started. So, I'm going to try and explain to the best of my abilities what's going to go on here, because this is kind of weird. The initial explanation is that this was a Donathon reward from back in May, and I put it on my list of rewards because I wanted to do something like a Smasher Pass, but I was like, I've seen a lot of those, and I don't know if I really can do anything interesting that hasn't been done with that before, I guess. And also, I just like to do something different. And then I guess I blacked out and did some real stupid shit. Oh, hi, Ryland. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, Ramel's great. This is a fully explorable world in VR chat where you could, have a class trial. The whole room is there. It's so good. Insanely impressive. Thank you for the follow, Hiko. Oh my god, Hikaru, welcome in. Sorry, I didn't recognize the name for a second. But yeah, highly, highly recommend that. Black Diamond is the crazy shit. Honestly, yeah. So what this was initially supposed to be was just a simulation. If you've ever gone to, I think it's called brantsteel.net or hold on, what is it? Brantsteel.com. They have a bunch of simulations for Survivor or for Big Brother, stuff like that, where it'll have people voted out. Hi, Looney. Welcome in. Also, I didn't black out drinking. Don't worry. This was a blackout in terms of I've fallen ass first to doing too much. Because it was supposed to, that was just a simulation, and it was basically going to be that, and I'd be based on your character, here's how I think you would kill someone. But I kind of realized pretty early on that the simulation is pretty basic. It really is just if you go to the website, and I'll put the links to the actual simulation seasons once they're done, they're literally just a body was discovered. It's so and so. Everyone went to a class trial. Everyone votes randomly. whoever has the most votes or one of the people who's tied for the most votes is just declared the blackened, and then it's over and then they move on. Like, there's no details to it. So it's like, that's kind of boring. And also, if I'm trying to do that live on stream, then I can't really make many specifics about like how someone died because I won't know the killer until you guys do. So what I did instead was I ran the simulations in advance and have written out sort of details that go on around them. This is basically like single player D&D, but with severe mental illness and Danganronpa, which I guess is kind of, you know, redundant to say both, but yeah. So, our first group are these lovely people. This is the Fall of Hope. Everybody volunteered for this, by the way. This is, you know, everyone submitted. They sent me their PNGs. They sent me what they wanted to be their ultimate. Everyone votes randomly, but there's no way for them to vote wrong with the simulation. This is the thing. So it kind of ends up being a little bit wonky. You'll see it once we start getting into some of the votes where it's like, wow, we're just going for fucking anyone. I kind of had to make up some shit, which was part of the fun of this, was trying to sort of write a story around it and explain it instead of just being like 5 minutes in and being like, yeah, I don't know, I guess so-and-so died, moving on. Because this stream would be 45 minutes max if that was the case. We're going to try and drag it out a bit. Also, hi Reverie, welcome in. I'm sorry if I missed you earlier. I think I saw your name. But yeah, I'll be honest, I'm going to be missing people a little bit. I'm going to be all over the place because there's a lot going on. Again, in terms of the did too much and am scared of what I've done, there's the trailer that you guys saw at the beginning. If you're watching this as a VoD, you're not seeing it because it's a copyrighted video, and eventually I would like something on my fucking VoD's channel to be able to be monetized. So, yeah, you can always go and find that on the YouTube channel. It's in the pinned comment. I'm very proud of it. That took me like months of work, or I guess a month and a half probably total of like working on that thing. It's the first time I've done something like that, and the software I use is not fucking built for it, but whatever. It is what it is, and I'm glad that nobody found it like horrendously cringe for me to take their fucking VTuber models and be like, by the way, I did too much, because that was my real concern. I have also written a script behind this. Like I said, like I sort of had to kind of fill out the details because it will, like, the simulation will literally just be like a dead body was found, everyone voted, moved on. So I kind of wrote a bit of a script around it in terms of like what happened during the daily life, how were the bodies found, what was the killing like what was the murder detail. Hi Dragdoon. Also, thank you, Peanut. Yeah, I don't know, I can't handle compliments with myself, which is why I'm like this. Yeah, so we'll go through the daily life. Hi Ophelia, welcome in. This is gonna be an interesting first stream. I apologize to the people who are in this group because it will be a little bit this is the scuffed group. And so you guys might get the rough end of it, but we are going to do 3 more streams of this. So this is the first one. This is the Fall of Hope because it's the Virtual Killing Academy. So we break it down into semesters. First group, Fall of Hope, takes place in the fall. Second group, Frozen Frenzy, takes place in the winter. Third group, Despaired Downpour, is the spring group. And the fourth group, the Summertime Stars, is going to be taken from the survivors. And that brings me to kind of the last thing I think I need to mention before we start, is that one of the things the simulation allows you to do is to select how many people survive. So I selected 6 people surviving from each of those first 3 rounds, and all 6 of those people will be sent to an all-star round where they'll go to some final survivor shit, which I'm very excited about. They'll also be joined by me because I think I might as well throw myself in eventually. We'll see what happens. As well, one of the things with the simulations, hi Weeby. Yeah, there are not going to be any animations. My drawing skills are not good. That would not be good for anyone. Yeah, it's winners at war basically. And so what we're gonna do is, I'm basically gonna just describe it to you and we'll just change to music that's appropriate. So we have, this is our like background music, but we also have when a body is discovered. And this is a really long sound effect, but there isn't a shorter one from it. Of course I did. Yeah, of course I did. We've got Tropical Despair, which is for when we're doing the class trials. They will be themed. Yeah, so I've like written out like motives. I've kind of tried to like make it seem like there's actually some sort of a plot that you could follow, because I think it'd be a little bit random. Like I don't want it to be, because I want to put up like predictions. I want people to have fun with it, and it's not fun if it's just like, oh, and then someone died. We're not doing Inescapable here. I can write a better fucking story than that. So there will be. Yeah, exactly, Fishy. But we're gonna invent. Well, some of these people have connections. A lot of these people are friends. We can bet channel points on the predictions. That's gonna be how it works. Uh, but yeah, we're gonna go based off of that. I've come up with executions. I'm just gonna describe them to you guys. Oh, I also do have voting. I'll show you the videos that I made for when we're doing the voting, because I didn't want to have to switch between them as fast as I could have. But I'm very proud of how they turned out. They look cool. I have music attached to those too, but I can't show you the music because they're in the videos, and then that would spoil who gets voted out and all that. But we also have this for when we're explaining how they died. What are the other soundtrack bits that I got? This one for after the method of murder has been determined. Yeah, exactly. Might be a head injury. And then for when we're describing the execution, this is doing too much for something like this. I recognize that, but I hope you enjoy nonetheless. Yeah, so there's kind of some people. Okay, so something that does need to be mentioned is that the simulation is very random. It's very weird. So when I was trying to figure out like who would be the mastermind, who would be the killer, all of that sort of stuff. Will there be downtime? Yeah, we'll take sort of like breaks between chapters. The executions do have chapters or titles, as do the chapters actually. We'll get to that. What was I gonna say? I forget. Oh yeah, no. So the simulation is very random. It's very weird, but like because of random patterns sort of emerging, I was like, okay, so like the mastermind isn't just a random person picked from the group. It's a character who survived and specifically acted very weird. Like that their simulation stuff was just like their voting pattern was weird or like just felt like it worked. I'll link the simulator once I'm like done with it because I want someone to rush through it and spoil it because I want people to be able to predict. And I'm the only one who knows. That will be the spin-off bagels, exactly. But yeah, if you've been looking in the background, you'll be able to... Actually, wait, I need to get my notebook. And a pen. Fuck. Give me a sec. Okay, sorry, we're back. Let me recalibrate real quick. It is like those old Hunger Games simulators, but like you would be... It maintains the same results each time you run it. I think it's actually probably the same website that does that one. But it will maintain the results, so if I send you the link to that specific one with everyone in it, you would be able to just like rush through it and see all of the results, and that would make me kind of sad. Put too much work into this for that to happen. Alright, but yeah, I'm also going to make note of when the chapters sort of start in the VoD, so I can put them into the thing. You're not collecting underwear. Mostly because I forgot that that was a thing. My pen is all fucked up. Oh yeah, something else I should mention before we start properly is that if you've ever used one of those simulator websites, they tend to kind of, I mean, because they produce unpredictable results, you can't really like work around it. There's not a lot you can really like do with it. And I wanted to make sure that this seemed fair, because it is fair. It's randomized, but also it's important that it comes across as fair. And there were a lot of times where the simulation would like only let my like people I've known survive or like my friends survive, and I felt kind of, I was like, I don't want that to happen. So they did get resimulated a few times. None of it was like based on getting a specific result out of it, but it was all based off of like making sure that it not only was fair but gave the appearance of being fair, I guess I should say. Also, yeah, no dating sim, unfortunately, but we'll see. Yes, I did want to make sure Looney died. That was true. I made sure that you died in a very sad way. Also, actually, I should say that too. If anyone who participated in this is watching and like you die first or you're out in the first trial, we are going to do this again sometime because this has been really fun and people seem to like it, and a lot of people do want to participate again. And so like when I do it again, people are allowed to resubmit if they were in this one or in this group. And if you died first or were the first blackened or whatever and didn't really get to stick around, then you kind of get priority, because I would feel really bad if you know, especially if somebody got really hyped for it and then died first. You'd be like, okay, well now I feel like an asshole. Spin the wheels maybe. there's kind of, I mean, you'll see sort of as it goes. It's not like explicitly like so-and-so is the protagonist. I do kind of have people when I was writing it that I had in mind as the protagonist, or like kind of fulfilling similar roles, but we'll see. Also, yeah, I should say the script that I wrote for this, including like the descriptions of people, like the bios that I kind of had for them, it's about 11,000 words. Just to give you an indication of how far I went beyond too far. Henrik! Hi, Henrik. How are you? Oh, also, I keep saying last thing, but something I should mention, that I will mention right now, is that if you're ever curious about any of the people who are in this, if you want to follow them, if you want to figure out who their artists are, you can find all of their details by putting in a command with their name. So there's Henrik's. It has the name, pronouns, their ultimate ability, their socials, and the artist who did their stuff. Yeah, basically. If I ever made a visual novel, I feel like it would either be so good that everyone would like, that it would prove that I'm not a complete clown, or it would be so bad that people would be like, huh, why are you talking shit about, I don't think I put in one for myself actually, but we'll figure that out. But yeah, everybody is in this. I really don't spam it too much because they are pretty large and they'll fill up the text box. Oh, Jesus. Also, hi Fubuki, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. I think Daz is just exclamation point Daz. Oh, that's the wrong thing. I can't put that in there because this doesn't work. Anyways, we'll do that to also make sure that like people who are, people get credited. Yeah, okay. So thank you for the follow, Joffie. Welcome in. All right, we're gonna run a quick ad to get it out of the way as we sort of start, because it says pre-rolls are on, and I would feel bad if they were. And as we do that, we'll just get everything set up, make sure it's all good to go. No, maybe that's why people do it. This is Joffie. Also, I will say, while we're waiting for the ad to run, I had so much fun getting to play around with everyone's models. Because, like, one of the things you'll notice is that, like, some people are in sort of like a straight up pose. Oh, I think I put... Yeah, Kami has 2 A's. But yeah, like some people you can see are sort of in a static pose, some people are in a more dynamic one. So kind of working around that was a fun challenge to work with. I don't know, this took so much time. Also, so many like files. Like these voting screens that you're gonna see in the background, those took up... Also just waiting for the ad to... Yeah, it's still running for a couple more seconds. Just for this group alone, plus the videos, like the voting videos, that's about like 4.5 gigs. There's 761 files for this group. Not including just like their static default poses or their profile pictures. Those are in separate folders. There was a lot going on for this. Anyways, so yeah, so actually, yeah, I guess I can say that. I wanted to make sure I split people up fairly for the most part. Also, hi Jinx. Wanted to split people up in terms of like, also not making sure one group was like all my friends and another group was all strangers. Because in my mind, I was like, I want to make sure that I have some people I know enough about that I can kind of say something and like work a story around it and then fit in people who I don't know. And also so that it's not like a bunch of my friends survive everything, whatever. So you'll see that it's kind of mostly split 50-50 between that. Other than that, though, it was random. I kind of like set it up as like, there's X number of slots for people I know, X number of slots for people I don't. And then I mostly think I just tried to pick based on like, I did have vibes for each group actually, hold on. Because I did try and filter them a little bit based off of how that would work. Where is it? I think I said, what was it? I have it in a different document, I just have to find it for a sec. Oh God, where is it? Oh yeah, so this group was supposed to be like, takes place in a school, sort of traditional setting, kind of neutral vibes. Frozen Frenzy is meant to take place at a mountain resort, sort of ski lodge type of thing, and the vibe is a lot more deranged. Despair Downpour is going to take place in like this big gothic mansion, like sort of like the mansion from the Clue movie, very dramatic. And then All Stars will just be sort of everyone together. Also, I hope this isn't, like, I'm very excited for this. I hope it doesn't go poorly, because I will feel bad if it mostly just like lets people down, because I know people have been kind of excited for it. But anyways, I think we can probably just get into it. So first chapter is... Okay, so... All this takes place in a physical Discord server, basically. Well, thank you, Ophelia. But yeah, okay, so... Chapter 1, we're calling The Best Laid Plans. Losing My Legacy, something like that. So yes, Chapter 1, The Best Laid Plans. As for the story of it, we start out with the Fall of Hope season is the first semester of the Virtual Killing Academy. The game will continue until either the mastermind is killed, a killer manages to survive a class trial, or until there are only 6 survivors remaining, whichever comes first. These are sort of like the rules that the people in it would have been given. This season is being set in an abandoned school building, thanks to Danganronpa V3 Ultimate Academy for Gifted Juveniles, and is going to be hosted by nobody, because I couldn't afford a Monokuma mascot, and I didn't want to just use him. So we're just going to pretend that all the commands are basically being, or like commands, announcements, whatever, are being issued by like text-to-speech voice from TikTok type thing. The same rules apply as typical Danganronpa for the most part, meaning that 3 people must be present to identify a body, killer must survive a class trial to escape, etc. If there's a tie vote, because of the way that the simulation works, and one of the people in the tie is the murderer, then it will be considered a successful vote and the blackened will be executed. Juvenile, oh no. So, I also broke it down in sort of morning, afternoon, night cycles to kind of explain the timeline of it all. Exactly, bagels. Monica McClellan. That would be nice, but definitely not. Don't feel obligated to. So, let's assume everyone's just shown up on day 1. They've been dropped in here. And as the game begins, people are a little bit timid. They don't really know what to do. They're not sure how they got here. They're not sure why they're here. They don't know how to handle this, all that stuff. People mostly just like sort of scatter to their own dorms and keep to themselves for the first night, with a couple of exceptions at night. You've got Daz and Luciana hanging out in the courtyard, discussing something that they're not revealing. Tarth and Apollo are hanging out in the cafeteria area. And Leo, Henrik, and Death are hanging out in the music room. Also, Daz is the Ultimate King, Luciana, Ultimate Secret Agent, Tarth, Ultimate Explorer, Apollo, Ultimate Martial Artist, Leo is the Ultimate Songwriter, Henrik, Ultimate Bunny Idol, and Death, Ultimate Idol. Just in case that clarifies anything. On day 2, everyone gathers for breakfast in the morning. Tensions are still a little bit high, everyone's a little bit anxious. Squidgy, the Ultimate Emotional Wreck, is struggling to keep it together under the pressure. Also, all of these ultimates, for the most part, were ones people submitted, I should say. There were a couple that I had to make up because people didn't really understand the question when I asked, like, what's your ultimate? And they were like, an attack, like an ultimate attack. And I was like, uh-oh. Didn't explain that, but for the most part, that's what we got. So, at breakfast, Death is a little frosty towards Henrik and Leo, and eventually storms out, but neither Henrik nor Leo are explaining why. Tarth and Apollo, meanwhile, are sitting together and talking, which some people are interpreting as them plotting, but they're mostly just vibing. Joffie, the ultimate banana milk barista, made Jaewon some banana milk boba, and they were joined by Puppo, Reverie, Cammy, Yuki, and Cottony. Luciana is flitting between the groups trying to gather some information, and Fubuki, Daz, Mo, and Felix are all sitting on their own and mostly just kind of keeping to themselves. Yeah, already dramatic. Can you tell that I wrote this in a fugue state? Basically. For people who weren't here for it, I did like a 5-hour karaoke stream on Sunday night and got very drunk to cope with having to sing in public, and then spent 4 hours last night playing a dancing game. And some of this stuff was edited and rewritten today while I was in that state. So like, if any of it seems a little bit incoherent or bizarre, I promise that that's probably most of it. Anyways, people sort of spend the day just sort of hanging out. No one really seems invested. I did eat a whole pizza. It was very good. People are like just kind of hanging out. No one really seems particularly incentivized to kick off the killing game. Doesn't really seem to be any pressure to, so they're just kind of hanging out. Most people are alone, but some people are together. Apollo and Felix, the ultimate boxer, are going to be sparring together for a bit. Leo and Henrik are back in the music room, but Death is not with them this time. And Cammy and Luciana are chatting with each other in the courtyard. For night 2, nothing really happens. Everyone just goes to sleep. It's all pretty chill. On morning 3, however, everyone gathers for breakfast, and before anything can happen, there's an announcement. The killing game has been getting off to too slow of a start, and it's time to force the action to keep the audience entertained. So, it's time for a talent show. On night 6, the Ultimates will gather in the auditorium and present a talent of theirs, either related to their Ultimate or not, to try and impress the audience back home. If they need any supplies, they can always request them from the producers, but participation is mandatory. After the performances are done, the audience at home will be given 24 hours to vote on their favorites, and whoever gets the most votes gets to leave. Whoever gets the least votes, however, will be executed. If anyone doesn't like their odds in the talent show, though, they can choose to kill someone themselves. If a murder happens before the show will be cancelled, and a regular class trial will ensue. This, understandably, sends everyone into a commotion. And then, kind of out of nowhere, another argument breaks out between Death versus Henrik and Leo that gets broken up as well. The group files out to begin figuring out their performances and making a plan. In the afternoon on day 2, Cammy and Luciana try to reach out to Death to figure out what was happening, but he refuses to speak with them, saying he needs to focus on his talent show performance. Leo and Henrik, likewise, seem to be working separately now rather than together. Fubuki speculates to Nyansame and Jaewon that people with performance-based talents have an unfair advantage here, and that she's worried that anyone who doesn't have an obvious talent show gig might feel pressured to commit a murder to improve their odds. She indicates Squidgy, who has been sobbing on and off for the last few days, and asks how anyone could really make a talent show performance out of being emotionally unstable. Jaewon points out that that's not an objective measure, or the show is not an objective measure of talent. It's a talent show for an audience vote, so he just has to appeal to the audience, and reality TV audiences tend to like some drama. People begin ordering their supplies, most of which go unnoticed by everyone because they're just small items, but some are too big to not notice. There's a replica shrine for Yuki, the ultimate shrine maiden, an obstacle course for Fubuki, the ultimate ninja, and a series of combat dummies for both Felix and Apollo. As of night 2, most ultimates have gone to sleep, but some, including Death, Henrik, Leo, Fubuki, and Luciana, have mentioned to the others that they had plans to practice throughout the night in different areas of the school. For morning 3, this time, people are slower to return to the dining hall, and some people just don't show up at all. Henrik, Death, Fubuki, Luciana, Squidgy, Leo, and Apollo are all nowhere to be seen. Out of concern, the others begin looking for them, led by Tarth, the ultimate explorer. Honestly, sobbing for 10 minutes straight would be a pretty good talent show performance. They first go to explore the classrooms where people have been practicing their talent shows, finding Death singing in one of the rooms. He says he hasn't seen anyone else and asks them to leave him alone. So, they move on to the next room. And who died? Poor Henrik. Henrik has been found dead in the room where he was practicing his music, seemingly crushed to death. Given that enough people were present, the body discovery announcement has been played, and everyone who wasn't already there rushes into the room. They're given an evidence briefing that indicates that Henrik died at some point in the night, that he was indeed crushed to death, and that all other evidence will have to be gathered by them. And, before long, it's time for the class trial. Yes, we've lost our first victim. Poor Henrik. So, at this point, I can probably turn on this music. It might be a little bit too loud. I'm so sorry, Henrik. But, at this point, we're going to do a prediction. Well, that's a poll, not a prediction. Let me find it. Hold on. I should have probably set this up in advance. So, who is the one? Okay, so who are our people? We've got Puppo, we've got Daz, we've got Leo. We don't have Henrik. I'm sorry, Henrik. We've got Tarth. We've got Apollo. We've got Death. We've got Jaewon. We've got Felix. We've got Joffie. I don't know how many predictions it'll allow me to have, actually. Hopefully it'll allow me to include everyone. No, it won't. It'll only allow me to include 10. Let me see if there's anyone that I wrote off as being definitely not guilty. Actually, we'll wait to start. Fuck, I wish that the prediction allowed me to have more people. Who would be a good random assortment of people?
You're easily impressed.
Oh, thank you for the follow, Arcane City. Welcome in. Because we can only have 10. So I think what we'll do is we'll pick kind of a random assortment of people, and then if it is not one of those people, then I'll just have like an anyone else option that you can vote for as well. I apologize. I thought that there was actually room for everyone. That. Nope. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have planned this out better. Gives you time to think, I guess we'll say. Shit, no. Okay. Sorry, I was trying to figure out like a good random distribution of things. We'll put it down for like 10 minutes. I think I can end a prediction early. But anyways, so the 9 people that I've put on the prediction list, because that's as many as I can, the Dead Gallery can make predictions. You're allowed to vote. Also, hi Felix, how are you? Yes, it's okay, Henrik. You'll survive. You'll move on. You'll get out of it, I'm sure. You can always get better. Also, hi man, welcome in. All right. Predictions are between Daz, Tarth, Death, Felix, Fubuki, Nyansme, Yuki, Squidgy, Cottony, and other. This isn't meant to bias in terms of any of these people. This is a random selection of them. If you don't believe it's any of those 9 named people, you can vote for other, and if it's any of the others, then you'll get the vote for it. So, let's begin our prediction. You can vote with points, you can gamble your points, you can do all that kind of stuff. Sorry, Henrik, you bitch ass. God damn it, hold on, wait. My screen is too small, I can't approve them. Let's see. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything too important. Also, every murder committed, yeah, so most of them are going to involve a blackened who is still alive, because that's how the simulation works, I'll say. But there could be double kills, there could be whatever. Anyways, so yeah, feel free to get to gambling. I'm going to cut off it once I feel like it gets a little bit too obvious who it might be, but we'll see how it goes from here. Again, first one's going to be a bit scuffed. So let me just drink some water real quick, because I'm dying a little bit. Oh shit, sorry. All right, so at the trial, the main point of discussion is who had the opportunity and the motive. Death is initially the prime suspect, given that he keeps fighting with Henrik and Leo, or kept fighting with Henrik as it is, and that he was right next door. But Death vehemently denies this. He points out that he frankly just isn't strong enough to crush someone to death with his bare hands, and that there were other people also rehearsing in that same building. Wait, how is... Are a lot of people voting for you, Fubuki? Hold on. Oh, Jesus. That's harsh. I'm very curious to see if you guys can get it right. Anyways, yeah, so he points out that there were other people also rehearsing in that same building, and Apollo and Fubuki are both actual fighters. He's just an idol. Like, that's not really in his skill set. If anyone could have done it, it was probably them. I'll say this, Fubuki's design is very, very pretty. I like it a lot. I like everyone. There's so many good designs in this. Makes me kind of jealous. The worst part about being a VTuber is that you look around and you're like, oh, I like my design, but that person has this and that person has that. And what about that color scheme? And it's just kind of that forever. I was like, hi, Helitas, welcome in. But yeah. When people start asking how Death didn't notice somebody being murdered right next door, he says that he wasn't in that room all night. He went for a break after a while because he was tired and needed some air, and Squidgy actually corroborates this for him. Squidgy had also gone for a walk to clear his head because emotional wreck. And Death had heard the sobbing and so went to check on him. Squidgy had been inconsolable, so Death just kind of walked him back to the dorm and moved on. And while he was there, he picked up noise-canceling earplugs so that he wouldn't have to keep getting interrupted by Henrik's practice and went back to rehearsing. He speculates that the murder either happened while he wasn't there, since he had been gone for like about half an hour, give or take, he guesses, or after he came back when he couldn't hear anything. The others point out that deafening yourself in a killing game seems kind of dangerous and also stupid. To which Death says, yeah, duh, that's why I kept the door open and always was facing it so nobody could sneak in on me. Leo mentions that the hallway is actually a dead end there, and someone would have to pass by Death's door to get to Henrik's. Meaning that, assuming Death was telling the truth, Henrik was most likely killed while Death was taking his break. Fubuki, Leo, and Luciana were all on different floors of the building, and while none of them have an alibi, they all insist that they stayed in their rehearsal areas until they eventually left and went to sleep. Luciana points out, to maybe deflect a little bit of suspicion, nobody else here has an alibi. Squidgy proved that, given that it was pretty easy to sneak out of the dorms without anyone noticing, and considering that he tends to be pretty loud and sobs everywhere he goes, that would seem to indicate that it's not that hard to get around. I mean, exactly. Also, I apologize if I'm not keeping up with chat as well as I would like to. I will do my best. Then, Joffie raises a question. Had Squidgy been sobbing all night? He's an emotional wreck, but that doesn't mean he's literally constantly crying. He questions Death, who says that his break was about half an hour of wandering around the campus, and he didn't hear Squidgy until about 10 minutes into his walk, give or take, at which point he found him sitting on a bench that was at least 10 minutes away from the dorms. Thus, the questioning starts to turn to Squidgy, who has once again began sobbing uncontrollably. High-intensity environment. Fair enough. Ultimate emotional wrecks are probably not well suited to this environment. However, Squidgy says that he had walked straight to the bench from the dorm, and Death found him pretty much immediately after he sat down. But Death interrupts him to say that that can't be true. Death had initially been walking in the direction of the dorms with the goal of getting those earplugs. It was about 5 minutes into his walk when he heard Squidgy, meaning that he would have either crossed paths with him or heard him, wouldn't he? And there was no way that Squidgy could have gotten from the dorms to the bench in that amount of time. It's a 10-minute walk. Squidgy, becoming more stressed, says that he just liked the singing before becoming fully unintelligible. Leo interrupts to say that, unless you were basically next door to someone in that building, you couldn't really hear it. They were all in the same building, and they couldn't hear it. So, who was it? Death says that Henrik had been keeping the door open while he had been practicing, which is why Death had needed to go get his earplugs. But Leo retorts that that still wouldn't have carried very far. He, Fubuki, and Luciana were in that same building on different floors and never heard anyone singing. Luciana says that this means something doesn't add up. Alright. Last chance for some predictions before we figure out who done it. I am going to run and grab some more water and let you guys figure out what you believe. Who do you think did it? Among our predictions, we've got Daz, Tarth, Death, Felix, Fubuki. I am so sorry. They do not trust your ass. Not in the slightest. Nyansame, Yuki, Squidgy, Cottony, or Other. I think it's interesting that Other got 1% of the vote, even though it feels like the safest bet, wouldn't it be? Anyways, an ad is also about to start, actually, so let's run that so it doesn't get in the way of the end of our class trial. I'll grab some water, I'll go to the bathroom. If you need to grab some water, go to the bathroom. Time to do that now. And we'll see you all back here in a couple of minutes when we figure out who done it. I appreciate that this has evolved into counting. Also, I trap goblin welcome in. Hold on, let me see. Trying to keep track of this is harder than usual because I really don't tend to have a lot of, or I have chatters, but usually not like, usually not so many that I struggle to keep up with chat. So I very much appreciate it, but let me just see. I think it's very interesting that Fubuki has been identified as the killer seemingly the most across the prediction with a resounding majority. It's like 64% for Fubuki. Although there are only 3 people who voted for that. There's just a lot of points invested in that one. People are just saying numbers. Yeah, look, it wouldn't be a Danganronpa game if there weren't people who would... Excuse me. If there wasn't someone who seemed like they really want to kill someone who just didn't. So thank you for the jacket redeem, Fossil. Alright, I'm going to end the prediction in a couple seconds. Make sure to get your last votes in if you want to, because we're going to move on to the results. Also, hi Tessrick. My body to be found. See, that's valid. I mean, bodies don't necessarily have to be found. What if someone dies and no one can find the body? The game just continues. Leo, because they're both bunny. Leo's not a bunny. I guess you can't see Leo's tail, but Leo has a tail going on. Not a bunny. Well, I guess you do wear the bunny ears. But that's like idle stuff. Anyways, let's end the prediction. Oh, it is close. Okay, cool. Perfect. So, I will say there's at least one person who got it right. But who was it? Time to find out. Hold on, I have to just turn off the music because unfortunately this is just how this works. Okay, ready? I'm very proud of these. Don't be mean about my voting video. I worked hard on this. If it will play. Oh my god, hold on. It's doing bullshit. Give me a sec. It's not playing the audio. We'll restart it. There we go. I'm sorry. This is part of the things that got fucked. Papa voted for Luciana. Daz voted for Tarth. Leo for Fubuki. Henrik voted for himself because dead. Not be true. Exactly. This goes on a lot longer than I thought it would, but I didn't know how to make it. I wanted people to be able to see the results. I don't know. Yeah, this is the fun thing about it, is that the simulation does not understand how to, like, vote coherently. Exactly. How could you, Tarth? And with that, we have our voting results. So, who was it? It's Squidgy! So, yes, it was indeed the ultimate emotional wreck, Squidgy. Let me choose the results for this. There was, I believe, only one person who guessed this one right. But obviously, the important question is, why? How? Why would he do it? Squidgy is one of like 3 mods on this channel. He's one of the only people who can't be banned. Also, I don't think Squidgy's here, which I feel kind of bad about. But oh well. Anyways. So, there was no tie vote, which is rare for this group, as we're about to find out, I promise you. Could not, no matter how many times I reran the simulation, you guys could not make up your goddamn minds. So, how did they do it? what was the plan? Wait, I guess it's the wrong music for this. Hold on. This is the sad music for after. There we go. We need the dramatic reenactment music. Imagine there's like a comic strip going on in the background here. So, also imagine I have like an anime voice. I don't know how to do that. But yeah, so Squidgy started this with no bad intentions. He'd just been feeling sad and had been wandering around the campus for about half an hour or so before remembering that several talented singers were practicing in that building. So he decided to go and listen to them to try and feel a bit better. He just missed Death on his way out for his break, but he did make his way to the floor where both Death and Henrik had been practicing, and Henrik was performing with the door open. Squidgy was enraptured by the tragic ballad that Henrik had been singing about his fears of dying before he could achieve his dreams. He walked into the room, initially just startling Henrik, but promising he meant him no harm. He just wanted to hear the singing. Henrik performed the song again, bringing Squidgy to tears. In a state of severe emotional instability, the himbo ran up to him at the end of his song and gave him a giant bear hug. Too much of a bear hug for Henrik, in fact, who quickly realized he couldn't breathe. Squidgy couldn't tell that Henrik was trying to free himself and just kept holding the hug. And when he eventually released him, he realized that Henrik had died. In a panic, he fled the building, running and sobbing until he saw the bench that Death found him on and collapsing on it. The real killer is Squidgy. Pretend the music fades out. I can't make it do the transition. But anyways, yes, that's our first killer. That's our first blackened. Poor Squidgy. I'll be honest, I really didn't know. Some of these ultimates are ones where there's a lot more you can do with them when they kill someone, and some of them are just kind of like, I don't know. Because also, I should say, people gave me a little bit of a short description of like maybe what they would want for their deaths, or what they would want if they killed someone, like their execution, stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure Squidgy just said like, he's just a big himbo with a lot of emotions or something like that. So it's like, okay, I don't know. I guess we're working with it. Anyways. It's not enough to just have the blackened. Yeah, exactly. Like, I promise you, when I'm telling the story about it, it is meant to give some hints. It's not just me saying shit. So, we found our blackened, but that's not where it ends. It's time for the execution of Squidgy. The tears of a himbo. This is not gonna line up with the music, I'm so bad. I'm so sorry, but Squidgy, after being abducted from the class trial room, finds himself strapped to a chair in a theater. And looking around, he sees he's surrounded by dummies of himself. A spotlight flashes on the stage to reveal a singer, who begins to perform a beautiful song. And when Squidgy begins to cry, so too do the dummies. They cry and they cry and they cry. And before long, Squidgy notices the water pooling at his feet. He begins to struggle and panic, eventually breaking free of the restraints, but finding that all the doors and exits are just painted onto the walls. The water level keeps rising and rising and rising as the dummy's tears pour out. And as Squidgy gives up, he's drowned in his own tragic tears. This is also, I should say, the reason I picked this specific, like, this one's Ashoki Fly Helicopter, which is the execution music from the second game, from the first trial. And the main reason I picked it is because it's like the shortest one, because I didn't want to have to ramble at you guys for 3 minutes about an execution. But anyways, with that, we've found our conclusion to the chapter. Where is the song? Hold on, there we go. After the execution, everyone returns to their dorms in shock. The talent show has been cancelled, so there's no longer any sort of deadline for them to prepare for. They've lost Henrik to, effectively, an accident, and Squidgy to his own emotions. While their initial fear had been malicious actors, they've now realized they need to be wary of everyone, even those with good intentions. And so there's 17 remaining. Poor Squidgy. Yeah. So I will say, like I said before, when I was doing any of this stuff, I ran the simulation and then wrote it all down in a Google Doc and was like, who voted for who died, who killed them, and then from there had to be like, okay, what would be like an incentive that would get Squidgy to kill Henrik? And it was like, I just really like the idea of him basically being, what's his name? Is it Lenny from The Best Laid Plans of Mice and Men or whatever? Where he just like is so overwhelmed with emotion, he just hugs someone to death. That was why the chapter was named The Best Laid Plans. But yeah, and with that, it's the end of chapter 1. We're actually making pretty good time. Okay.
You're easily impressed.
Thank you for the follow, Nicole Picking Giant. Welcome in. Also, I hope you guys like the voting video. I had a lot of fun with that. So, now that we're on to chapter 2, it's time for Beautiful Ruin Somersault once again. Also, before I forget, there's Henrik's stuff. Thank you for the follow, Kai. Welcome in. And also, Squidgy. Funny story about Squidgy is that their artist was, I think, one of the only artists who found the trailer video and did not know that that was in it and left a comment and was like, I really did not expect to see my art here, but that's really cool. Okay, get your sleep, Lightcore. Thank you for stopping by. Again, like I said, if you can't stick around for the whole thing but want to see what happened, all the VODs will be up. It says 24 hours. It'll be up at like 9 a.m. Mountain Time. So like 14 hours from now. Yeah, I hope you guys liked chapter 1. I hope it wasn't too scuffed. And I hope you're excited to see what happens next. Yeah. I just realized, yeah. There we go. There's Nansmith stuff. Nansmith design is very nice. For sure. Again, if anyone can't stick around, I totally understand it. I appreciate you being here for as long as you can be, and I hope you enjoy. But with that, we're on to chapter 2, titled Never Forgive, Never Forget. 2 down plenty. Yeah, so we have to get to a final 6, so there's a lot. Also, I will say, I don't think I mentioned it earlier, one of the things that I did do with the simulation was that I reset it anytime the first kill was a double kill, because it really liked to do double kills. The simulation, it's fucking RuPaul on season 8 of Drag Race, but she's like, we need to get these bitches out 2, 3, 4 at a time, like, let's fucking go. So I didn't want the first kill to be a double kill, because I felt that was kind of boring, but the rest I thought were like fair game for the most part, as long as we ended up with roughly similar number of chapters for every group. So our current survivors are Puppo, Daz, Leo, Tarth, Leo, Tarth, Apollo, Death, Jaewon, Felix, Joffie, Fubuki, Reverie, Nyansame, Cami or Camellia. Sorry, in my head I keep calling them Cami. I think that was what was originally on like the sign up tweet, but I don't know if I should. Princess Yuki, Mo, Cottony, and Luciana. But we've advanced a few days into the future at this point. It's morning of day 6. A few days have passed without incident, with everyone mostly just kind of keeping to themselves. However, at breakfast on day 6, a new incentive is once again introduced. A one-time wish for the next Black, and if they can survive the trial, they can get anything they want, and the producers will find a way to make it happen. But the killing has to happen within the next 48 hours. Initially, the Ultimates start to disregard this, saying no wish is worth killing someone for, and Fubuki emphasizes that they all have enough talent to make their dreams come true regardless. Very fair bagels. They all leave breakfast and they go on with their day. In the afternoon, just sort of set the scene of like where everyone's at, Leo has continued working on his songwriting, but has moved onto the roof of the building instead of staying inside, saying that he can still feel the death of Henrik in the air there. Deathmuffin himself still practices in the building, saying that it just doesn't really bother him. Even with the talent show over, he still wants to improve his singing. He's still the ultimate idol. Plus, without Henrik, he can now practice without his earplugs. Joffie has continued making his banana milk tea for people over the last few days, and regularly has a gathering of a handful of people. Jaewon, Yuki, and Cottony are typically the regulars, but everyone stops by at least once. Yuki has made a habit of grabbing a milk tea and walking a lap around the main building while she drinks it, so that it's done by the time she returns and she can grab another. Felix and Apollo regularly spar during the afternoons to keep themselves busy and sharp, usually with Tarth, Fubuki, and Luciana in attendance, but others also occasionally drop in. Nyansame has been connecting more with Puppo, who has experienced a rebirth similar to Nyansame's ability to live multiple lives. Puppo was originally a regular dog before being hit by a car and being reincarnated, while Nyansame has 9 lives related to cat powers they have, and so has died several times at this point. They will not reveal how many, but the two have engaged in some philosophical discussions about death, occasionally joined by Yuki and Jaewon, who have perspectives related to their spiritual abilities, as the Ultimate Shrine Maiden and the Ultimate Shaman respectively. Leo also sometimes takes a break from his songwriting to go talk with the group, wanting to learn more about life and death to get a bit of a sense of closure over what happened to his friend Henrik. Joffie's going for everyone. As well, we have Daz, Camellia, Mo, and Reverie, who are all just kind of generally bouncing around between the various groups. They're usually with somebody, but they're not always with the same people. The day passes, and on night 6, nothing eventful happens. Everyone just goes to sleep. On the morning of the 7th day, at breakfast, some members of their group, Daz, Felix, Reverie, Nyansame, and Mo, start thinking about what they might wish for if they did get to have that reward. Death shuts them down, saying they'd be stupid to kill for a wish and that the reward is going to expire by the end of the day anyways, so it's not worth thinking about. Everyone leaves and goes back to the routine they've had for the last few days. For the afternoon of day 7, as per usual, Leo's on the rooftop, but had stopped first for some milk tea and a quick conversation with Puppo and Nyansame. Death is singing in his usual classroom, Joffie is making banana milk tea, Felix and Apollo are sparring, Puppo and Nyansame are chatting, and the others are hanging out with the various groups. Someone kill Twink with Rock. It wasn't kill Twink with Rock, it was kill Twink with Hug. The day is progressing pretty much as per normal, with Joffie, Jaewon, Yuki, and Cottony hanging out together with the milk tea, with Reverie and Mo joining them this time around. Yuki has, as per usual, grabbed her milk tea and gone for a lap. I don't know why I said milk. I wrote milk tea, which is not correct. And has gone for a lap as per usual. But after a minute, the others hear a scream from around the corner. They rush over to see what happened, only to find a gruesome sight. But they don't see Yuki. At least, not initially. Walking around the corner, they find Leo, but under him, Yuki as well. The two are dead. Also, I just realized, sorry, Yuki's a little bit cut off here. I had to find room for both of them in here. But we've lost 2 more. Yuki was found underneath Leo's body on the ground. The Ultimate Songwriter and the Ultimate Shrine Maiden have died. The facts of the case that are established by the evidence document are that Leo fell from the top of the building, landing on Yuki with her dying instantly upon impact. The scream that was heard had been from Leo, presumably as he fell. The question, then, is what happened? Did Leo jump? Was he pushed? And if so, by who? And why was Yuki killed? After a brief investigation period, the Ultimates gather once again for a class trial. Hey Trevor, yes, we've got some fresh corpses here. We've got Leo and Yuki. I mean, who knows if Yuki died by pure chance? This is Danganronpa. Sometimes shit gets weird. Also, okay, so we're gonna do Yuki and Leo. I know Leo was here earlier. It was a double kill. Let me set up the prediction. Oh, wait, that's a poll. Sorry, I'm not very smart. So let me just actually save the screenshot of how that vote went for the first, or for the predictions for the first round, because I think that's funny. Okay. So, new prediction. Who is the Blackened of Chapter 2? Oh god. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 5 people are going to be left out of this randomly. Let's see. Who are we going to put in this one? Named. Again, it could always be one of the others. We'll see. I smell homicide. I mean, that's true. There might be homicide. Let's go with... I'm trying to go with like a similar pattern across it, just so it makes it a little bit more fair. I don't know why I keep trying to write Reverie as Reveries. And then we'll throw in... Okay. So the people who are going to be named in the prediction are going to be Puppo, Daz, Tarth, Apollo, Death, Joffie, Fubuki, Reverie, Mo, and other. So if you think it's one of those 9 people, you can predict for them. And if you think it is somebody who isn't named, which would be, who's that? Jaewon, Felix, Nansme, Camellia, Cottony, or Luciana, then you just vote for other. So the odds are good if you do that. Anyways, let's start our prediction. Who do we think did it? I mean, they both have a tail, to be fair. And also, I wish I was able to like do a demonstration of like what it looked like or like what the layout of it was. But basically imagine like big square building, we'll say like 5 stories tall, I guess. And a sort of walking path right around the edge of it. Yes, even the dead are allowed to predict in there. Also, hi, almost. Sorry, I didn't notice it, or I got a bit distracted, but welcome in. How are you doing? There's a lot happening. Buzz out the MS Paint? No, this stuff is meant to look a little bit more... I've tried to do it a little bit more clearly. I've tried to make it look borderline professional, which... Who knows if I'm succeeding. But anyways. So, as established, the murderer. The facts of the case are that Leo fell from the top of the building, landing on Yuki, killing Yuki instantly. The scream they had heard had been from Leo, presumably as he fell. The question, then, is what happened here? Did Leo jump? Was he pushed? And if so, by who? And why was Yuki killed? At the class trial, some rules are clarified for the ultimates. Or, rather, some vagueness is made more clear. God, I feel like I need to like move this closer to the middle so I can actually see what, without looking like I'm looking off to the side all the time. For a double kill, accomplices are not considered to be the Blackened unless they directly killed someone, in which case only the first killer is considered the Blackened if both killers are alive by the time the trial starts. If one killer is dead, then the other is the Blackened regardless of the order. If there is only one killer and the killer themselves also died, then they would be considered the Blackened and must be voted for. We're saying these are in-universe rules. For us, there will always be a Blackened among the living. Luciana begins the debate by quickly pointing out that, given the nature of the killing here, it's pretty unlikely that there are 2 separate killers, and says the only real options are that either 1, Leo jumped off the roof to end his own life while killing Yuki, or 2, someone pushed Leo to kill both him and Yuki. Cottony supports this argument, saying that the evidence that they were provided told them that Yuki's death was caused by Leo landing on her. But Puppo points out that they were never actually told Leo's cause of death. That was conspicuously absent. Is it possible that he was maybe murdered and then his body was thrown off the roof at a later point? Cottony points out that they were told that Leo was the one who screamed, but Puppo argues that that might not be true. The group becomes split, trying to identify who was actually the primary target of this murder in the first place. Was Leo the target and Yuki was just incidental to it all? Was Yuki the target and Leo was just a very strange weapon? Were they being targeted simultaneously by someone who did want to kill them both? Tarth, Jaewon, Fubuki, Kami, and Luciana believe that Leo was the primary target, while Daz, Death, Joffie, Nansme, and Cottony believe that Yuki was the primary target, and the rest believing that they were both deliberately targeted together. Trying to make sure that the music is like loud enough that it actually kind of works, but we'll see. The people who believe Yuki was the primary target argue that, given her extremely consistent schedule of grabbing her banana milk tea and doing a lap around the building, she was extremely consistent and was extremely easy to predict. People would have known that she would have been in that spot. The others argue that just about everybody knew that Yuki went for walks with her bubble tea, but she doesn't do it at the exact same time every single day. The Yuki camp retorts that they wouldn't need to know the exact time if they were up on the roof and able to keep a lookout, since the whole path was visible from up there. Henrik, did you not... Henrik, you got crushed to death. You got bear hugged. I don't know if you saw. The Leo camp, meanwhile, argues that it would be insane to use someone's body as a weapon from the start. I was like, hi Kaiser, welcome in. Yeah, Leo just did that. It just kind of happened. Anyways, the Leo camp, meanwhile, argues it would be insane to use somebody's body as if it were a weapon. Like, that would just be a lot to do. Even just within the building, there were still leftover supplies from that talent show that would have been much more predictable weapons than a human body. The other groups retort that Leo was always on the roof, and so it might have just been used because he was there. But the Leo camp argues that only reinforces that Leo was the target. He was known to be on the roof, so if someone was going up to the roof with murderous intent, it was probably for him. After running into a stalemate, Mo suggests that we maybe change the direction of the debate. It starts looking at everyone's alibis. Yeah, someone alive will always be the blackened. That doesn't mean that maybe Leo didn't participate in the killing, but somebody else will be voted. Somebody else will be the one who gets executed here. Joffie, Jaewon, Cottony, Mo, and Reverie were getting banana milk tea from Joffie at the time of the murder, so they can't have been the killers. Joffie also mentions that Leo had initially stopped by there before anyone else got there. He picked up a drink and then left, saying that he was in a bit of a hurry. Puppo and Nyansme were talking with each other and were alone together, and had talked briefly to Leo about Henrik. They mentioned at the time that his drink was still mostly full, so it must have been pretty quickly right after he got it. Felix and Apollo had been sparring, but only Tarth was there to watch by the time the bodies were found, and so only they can alibi for each other. Death says that he was practicing in the same room as usual and saw Leo walk by holding the empty cup. Daz and Luciana had been walking together to watch Apollo and Felix, but the body announcement happened before they got there. Fubuki and Camellia say that they were both in their dorms relaxing at the time, so they don't have alibis, but Joffie and the others do confirm they never saw any of the four around the building before the murder. However, at this point, Nyansme realizes that someone might have just made a mistake. Death mentioned seeing Leo with the empty cup, but he never mentioned seeing anyone else. Why? Death retorts that he probably just missed them. He wasn't always looking out. Nyansme points out, though, that the hallway with his classroom is a dead end. That was established during the Henrik case, and Leo knew that. He kept going up to the roof, so why would he have been in a place where Death could see him? Before Death can even answer, though, Apollo jumps in and asks why Death had kept the door open. Wasn't that only something he did when he had to worry about someone sneaking up on him because of the earplugs, and that he stopped wearing those because Henrik wasn't practicing there? Death responds that he just ended up keeping the door open anyways, because why not? But he just wasn't always looking out at all times. Luciana brings up that doesn't explain why Leo would have allegedly walked down the dead-end hallway, or why Death would have seen him. And Death, starting to get a bit frustrated, points out that there are other people who could have snuck past him. Fubuki is a ninja. She could definitely sneak past him, and could have snuck past everyone else too. Fubuki argues back that, while she doesn't really want to draw attention to her lethality, given that it might make her seem a bit suspicious, she has better ways of killing someone than that. A poison dart, a thrown knife, or hell, just about anything else would have worked better and drawn less attention. If she were going to kill Leo, she would have snuck up, killed him silently, and just left the body up there to be discovered later. After all, why throw the body down? If the body was left up there, it would have been harder to pinpoint the time of death or the culprit. Felix points out that, while that's a little bit scary, and we're going to have a talk about the highly capable killer in our midst after this, everyone knows that Death did have beef with Henrik and Leo. Like, that was a big part of the last trial, and it never got resolved. And with both Leo and Henrik dead, Death's the only one who knows what was up. Death refuses to discuss it, saying that people were only trying to pin it on him and that he would have never pushed Leo. Puppo points out that it wasn't ever established that Leo was pushed. That was a theory, but why is Death saying it like a fact? Death retorts that it's pretty clear he was pushed, because who would want to kill Yuki? That was probably just an accident. Puppo fires back, that's not what Death said earlier. Back at the beginning, he was in the camp that argued that Yuki was the initial target. What changed? However, at this point, it's announced that the time for debate is over, and the time for voting has to begin. So, I'll give you guys a few more seconds to vote. Actually, I'll run yeah, because the ads are going to start soon. Let's run an ad for a minute. Make sure to do your voting. Make sure to figure out your plan. Who done it? Also, the voting here is really interesting because there's, for people who can't see it, there are 3 people with a lot of votes. Apollo has 43%, Death has 26%, and Joffie has 23%. Everyone else is 5 or below. Long John Silver's ad. The other ones who got some predictions were Puppo, Tarth, and Other. Daz got no predictions. Fubuki got no predictions this time. Or no, Fubuki got... I don't know, Fubuki did get a prediction. Someone gambled 20 points on Fubuki, which means that they'll get paid out at a rate of 1 to 259.05. So if it is Fubuki, someone's about to make a fucking killing here. Once the ad ends, we'll end the submissions and we'll figure it out. Who says you die, Fubuki? Maybe you make it through. Alright, we're going to end the submissions now. And it's time to figure out who done it. Oh fuck, hold on. It's doing the thing again. No, I forgot that it would do this. It like swapped my monitor thing. I'm gonna restart the voting. Apologies for that. Also, it's too loud, sorry. Get to be excited. That's true. I feel that. That's how I am too. Thank God. The results are all the simulator. All of the rest of it's flavor text that I added in to make the simulation make a little bit of sense. Fair. But yeah, no. The results are all just the simulator. The simulator doesn't do anything beyond just like basically the raw data. So that's what we're working with here. These are who people voted for. So Felix got 2, Daz got 2, Death got 2. I don't know if anyone else got 2 in this. Puppo got 2. And Jaewon got... Oh no, Jaewon only got 1. So, did they get it right? It's a tie. There's a few people with 2 votes. So who done it? It was Deathmuffin all along. Was it a 4-way tie? Look, I'm not very smart. I can't count. I hope you understand that I'm under a lot of pressure right now. Anyways. But what actually happened? What was... Wait, hold on. I need to complete the prediction. She's in the outcome. That prediction paid out pretty well for whoever voted for Death. Ripped everyone... Why did so many of you vote for Apollo? Apollo was not in the building. God damn. Anyways. Forcing attack. Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll do that in the future. But yeah, so. Leo, I'm so sorry. Unfortunately, you have died. You were pushed off of a building. We're going to get into actually exactly how it happened. Where's the music for this? Where's my... So. Death, defeated and dejected, admits that he did push Leo. He'd been planning to confront him for several days and finally worked up the courage to do so that day. He confirmed it was related to the beef that he had with both Henrik and Leo. Henrik was already an established idol while Death was just starting out, and Leo was a world-renowned songwriter. Death said that when they all first were hanging out, Leo refused to work with Death, instead offering to help out Henrik because he was just already more famous. However, Puppo and Nyansme interrupt to say that that's not what happened. Leo had had a lot of respect for Henrik and had mentioned that he'd offered to work with both of them, but Death had demanded that Leo only work with him, or else he didn't want it. Leo had mentioned it to the two of them, mentioned it to both Puppo and Nyansme in discussing the afterlife, saying that he felt a little bit responsible for Henrik's death. After all, if he had just found a way to work with both of them, maybe Henrik's death wouldn't have happened. Fubuki also pulls out a piece of sheet music that she'd snagged from the rooftop during the investigation. It was a song that Leo had been working on for Death as an attempt to extend the olive branch. Death didn't notice when he had snuck up to the roof, pushed Leo off, and accidentally killed Yuki in the process. He was blinded by jealousy towards Henrik and bitterness towards Leo, and not only did he never get a chance to apologize to Henrik for his behavior, he never got a chance to realize that Leo was there for him all along. He never meant to kill Yuki. It was just terrible timing. He didn't know about her scheduled walks. However, Tarth points out that if he'd succeeded in his plan, then Yuki and everyone else would have been killed anyways. To which Death remained silent. He had just wanted his wish to come true, and saw an opportunity to get revenge in the process. And now it's all falling apart. And so, we've got more deaths on the board, but it doesn't end with that. Because we don't just have a blackened, we have an execution. Yuki was killed purely by accident. She just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and got pushed off, or got landed on by Leo. She didn't even see it coming. I was trying to figure out this one again. This is one of the ones where it was kind of hard to try and explain Death's wish. I guess he's taken to the grave. Also, hi Puffy, how are you? Yeah, she's had extremely bad luck. But look, in my defense, that is very much so how Danganronpa would have a double kill. Be like, oh yeah, no, it was kind of just like an accident. I mean, that was basically V3's double kill, wasn't it? Where it was like, yeah, I guess someone else is just kind of here now. I'm doing good. Death drop. Reverse that and drop dead. Anyways, we don't end on just finding a guilty party. We end on an execution. And the execution of Deathmuffin is called Buried Stars. Death is abducted away from the class trial room with a bag over his head, and when it's pulled off, he finds himself with a mic in hand on stage in front of an audience of dummies cheering for him. Beside him are dummies of Henrik and Leo, and a screen descends with lyrics to the song Leo had been writing. As the music starts and the Henrik and Leo dummies begin to sing along, Death feels a sharp shock in the neck when he misses the first note. A shock collar has been attached to him, and if he doesn't sing along, it'll shock him. He tries to sing along, but every missed note is accompanied by another shock that makes it harder and harder to hit the next one. And as the song's tempo escalates and the singing gets more and more intense, parts of the stage begin to collapse under the riveting bass. Distracted by the collapse and from the shocks, Death misses even more notes, and soon the electrocution is happening basically constantly as he falls to his knees pulling at the collar. As the song reaches its crescendo, a giant chunk of rubble falls from the ceiling, landing directly on top of Death and the dummies of Henrik and Leo. Gosh, like, yeah, kind of got both of them. Wanted to try and keep it on theme. Also, Buried Stars is a game I really like. If you haven't played it, go play Buried Stars. But yes, so I think we already did Leo's, but we'll do. Make sure you go follow Leo. Leo is lovely, sweetheart, your ultimate songwriter. Yuki, our ultimate shrine maiden, go follow. Lovely, lovely. Yeah. Okay, I do want to say something really funny. There was a point when Looney was talking to me about this, because people knew what the roster of it was, and I'd shown Looney what like the Fall of Hope group looked like and like their ultimates or whatever, because I was like just excited about it. And Looney was like, how many of these people are musically themed ultimates? And at this point, I'd already done the simulation. I didn't do it until I'd already gotten most of the assets done, which is why I don't like see details in the trailer for any of it. But Looney was like, how many people in this group like alone are music people? I was like, well, there's Death and there's Henrik and there's Leo. And I specifically remember Looney being like, okay, there's a bunny idol and a normal idol. Okay, that's a little bit silly. And I was like, well, a lot of people do music stuff. VTubers happen to do that. And in my head, I was like, and also, they're all gone real fucking fast, so it's not like it's gonna matter. But yeah, and also our last one, Death. Oh wait, never mind. Oh, I put in the full thing, Deathmuffin. There we go. Also, side note, when I was initially doing all of this, Death had a different design and revealed the redesign while I was working on it. So I like had to replace, or I didn't have to. I offered Death and I was like, hey, I would like to replace all this. Also, thank you for the cheer, Ruby. I did see that. I'll check it after the stream. There's just a lot going on here. But actually, hold on. You know what? We'll check quick. Aw, that's very cute. I'll see if I can figure it out for the next ones, but I really do appreciate that. We'll see what we can do. It looks great. I appreciate it a lot. But yeah, okay, so Death had redesigned their outfit and also went from a different ultimate. I can't remember what Death's initially was. I have it saved somewhere. Because it wasn't Ultimate Idol originally. It was something else, I think. You know, yeah, look, you know what? That was also a really funny coincidence because I didn't even really think about it until I was like, until today when I was like, huh, we're really just keeping it up. Literally all of, like, every musician is out in the first 2 chapters because that's as fast as it could have happened. But anyways, and also this chapter's name was, what did I put it as? Never Forgive, Never Forget. Because Death didn't forgive or forget. Yeah, after the execution, the group sits in silence for a moment, before Puppo breaks it by saying they need to start talking to each other more about the hard things. I'll move on to this. This isn't going to get easier if they don't learn how to trust each other. Fubuki concurs, but Puppo turns on her, saying that she is the most lethal person in the building and that there's no way to make her more safe to be around unless she stops just hiding away from everyone. She didn't hang out with the groups as much, and they're a little wary. Not knowing how to follow that up, Fubuki simply leaves, as do the others shortly after. And with that, we have the end of chapter 2. I like that those are the 2 reactions. Fubuki's either the protagonist or goes next. Fubuki kind of has ended up at the center of a lot of it. I mean, to be fair, Fubuki, not all protagonists, female protagonists in Danganronpa games don't have the best, the best survival odds either, for being real. So that might not mean much. We'll have to see how it goes. Only played the first, fair. Yeah, okay. Let's see. I'm getting better than dying. Yeah, I know. So I'm gonna run and refill my water, go to the bathroom, get all that stuff done. I suggest that you guys take a break to also do that. I'll run the ads so they're out of the way for the next section, and we'll move on to chapter 3. I'm constantly, I have so many like slideshows and stuff here that I'm terrified I'm gonna accidentally activate the wrong one and be like, oh, this person died.
The LGBT community is rich in sensibility, has excellent taste, and is full of talented artistic people.
And thank you for stopping by, Fifi. I really appreciate it. But yeah, so now we're down to also, I should say, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We've lost 5. We have a lot of people here. Anyways, okay, I'm gonna run to the bathroom. I'm gonna run the ads. We'll get it out of the way while we can do chapter 3, and then I'll come back and we'll start on that. Go to the bathroom, go get some water. See you soon. Exactly, Nancy. You know what? It's all about surviving. This is the thing I did feel really, like, because I'm really having fun with this, but also I did feel a little bit bad for, like, anyone who dies early. I feel sad. Because it feels mean. There's something I was going to say that I meant to mention, and then I forgot. Should have known. Oh my god, if you had a wish, you would have never let him fall. What was I gonna... I was gonna say something, but I completely spaced on it. I apologize. Anyways, it's time for chapter 3. Best Friends Forever. Also, I'm glad we're making like decent time. I really didn't know if this was like... I don't know how long I would go with this, but so far it's been pretty okay. Also, hi Aston, sorry I didn't say that earlier. Not foreboding at all, I know. We'll see. I'll see. Nancy, you really are getting this to work out well for you. Anyways, so as the story goes, we're advancing in time. We're skipping ahead a little bit to day 10. After a few days have passed, any efforts to come together as a group have only led to everyone fracturing further. People have begun to form their little cliques. You've got Daz and Luciana, you've got Apollo, Tarth, and Felix, you've got Nansame and Puppo, you've got Joffie, Jaewon, and Cottony, and Reverie, Mo, and Camellia as a group too. Fubuki still finds herself on the outside, fearing that she has no way to prove that she's not really a danger to them. Puppo's words still rang clear in everyone's minds days after the trial, and while nobody's been outwardly hostile, Fubuki feels like she doesn't have a way to connect with them. As day turns to night, it's a relatively uneventful period. But on the morning of day 11, a new motive is introduced once again at breakfast. The buddy system. Now, I know that the rules around double kills were just established, but that does feel like it takes away from some of the excitement. This time, if two people can work together to kill someone, or kill two someones, both of them can win. There's still only going to be one single round of voting, and if both buddies avoid getting voted out, then they both win. And even if one of them does get voted out, the other still gets to escape. Immediately, the fracturing of the group begins to take on a new form. Now those little cliques that people have formed have become a liability, as any group of two could be working together. However, being in a group still does more to secure your safety than anything else, so it's not like it's safe to wander alone. I mean, unless you're Fubuki, who can defend herself, and finds herself without a group. And maybe Apollo and Felix too, since they are both capable fighters, as the ultimate boxer and the ultimate ultimate martial artist for Apollo, my bad. Everyone else, though, might be a bit risky for them. No, we shall see. For day 11, everyone is still split up into their groups throughout the afternoon and are mostly staying either within their dorms or in the courtyard. Nobody's really doing anything. At least not openly. At night, when everyone's in their rooms, all the ultimates receive a package at their doors. Most, being a little bit on edge, just grab the package and yank it inside. But Puppo stops Fubuki and asks her to open hers in front of everyone. After all, what if she got a weapon? She reluctantly agrees, and Puppo, Jaewon, Joffie, Mo, and Cottony watch as she opens it to reveal a throwing knife. Puppo immediately accuses her of requesting a murder weapon, to which she says that's ridiculous. Everyone got a package, so what did the others get? For real. Jaewon opens his to find a wrench, and the others follow suit. Joffie finds a lead pipe. Cottony has a rope tied into a noose. Mo has a candlestick, and Puppo finds a revolver. Fubuki points out that they have each been given a lethal weapon, as have the others presumably. They were probably just handed out at random to try and help everyone out with the killing, and she points out that Puppo is the only one that got a straight-up gun. Isn't that just a bit suspicious? Also, that Clue movie reference. I love the Clue movie. Wait, I've got a video on the YouTube. Hold on, let me put it in the chat. There's a video on the YouTube channel. Go watch that. I made one about how the Clue movie is great. Anyways, back to it. Puppo, flustered by the sudden suspicion, suggests simply taking all the murder weapons and locking them away in one of the dorms of one of his deceased ultimates. He opens Death's door, chucks everything on the bed inside, and then produces a key to lock it. Jaewon asks how he managed to get a key to the room, and Puppo says that he's made a point of collecting the keys from the deceased in case he needed them later. Everyone finds this, understandably I think, a little bit weird. But the bigger issue is who's going to hold on to the key. After all, none of them should have it. I use Death's door a lot there. I'll say the body with their name. Yeah, exactly. Fubuki suggests just sliding Death's key under his door so that no one can unlock it, which the group agrees to pretty quickly. She also asks if they should try and get the others to surrender their weapons tonight, but Puppo says there's time for it in the morning. They'll still have a few more doors that can be locked from the other, deceased. As the Ultimates wake up on the morning of day 12, they realize that a thin layer of water is coating the floors of their rooms. Rushing outside, they react in horror and confusion at the blackened husks of two bodies in the middle of the room. Charred beyond recognition, the identification of the bodies is left to the investigation documents, which reveals our victims are Daz and Luciana. Sorry, I forgot to open up that slideshow earlier. We're down 2. Daz and Luciana are both in the middle of the circular common area of the dorms. Again, think V3 dorms. Both seemingly having been huddled around a black chunk of melted plastic. The cause of death is revealed to be severe electrocution over a period of at least a few minutes, with electrical currents being so strong that they caused their clothes to catch fire and burn. They did die instantly to the first wave of electricity, though. So, at least it wasn't too painful. The water on the floor came from a flooded sink in Yuki's former dorm, where the drain had been stuffed with towels. It has since been fixed, and the producers assure them that they will have the dorms fixed while the class trial is ongoing. Speaking of, after a short investigation, the class trial begins. Where's the one for this? I did plan on having multiple soundtracks for class trials, but unfortunately couldn't. So, Daz and Luciana, zap zap. Also, we're almost down to the number of people where we can fit everyone in the predictions, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's going to be 3 people who aren't going to fit in it. Who is the blackened of chapter 3? It's not Daz. I'm just going to edit the old one. Okay, so just like in the previous ones, we can't fit everyone into the prediction. Yeah, spoiler, it is not Daz this time. I mean, yeah, they are blackened. That is true. Charred counts as that, I guess. But Puppo, Tarth, Apollo, Jaewon, Felix, Joffie, Fubuki, Reverie, and Nyansme are the ones who are currently available for prediction. If you think it's none of those people, if you think it's either Camellia, Mo, or Cottony, you'll vote for other. We all good? Let's start the prediction. So, like I said, both in the middle of the circular common area of the dorms, both having been seemingly huddled around a black chunk of melted plastic. Cause of death was severe electrocution. Electrical currents caused their clothes to catch fire and burn them. They died instantly to the first wave of electricity. The water on the floor seems to have come from a flooded sink in Yuki's former dorm, where the drains had been stuffed with towels. It has since been fixed, and the game producers will have the dorms fixed while the class trial is ongoing. As a high elixir, I'm going for Tarth again. You know what? I mean, statistically, not necessarily. 6 people survive. It could be, but maybe not. Anyways, I like that people also insist on immediately predicting instead of waiting until some of the details have been established. There will be one puppy. Fossil, you're not in this group. Also, goddamn, Puppo, they really do not trust you. Also, hi, Julian. How are you? Okay, so the class trial begins, and Reverie kicks it off by stating that they believe that there are 2 essential questions to answer. 1, what the fuck is that black melted plastic thing? And 2, why was the area flooded? Mo points out that Yuki's sink was the one used to flood it, and points out that Puppo had the keys to all the deceased person's rooms. So it must have been him who did that. Puppo retorts that all the rooms were left unlocked unless he himself had locked them, and Fubuki corroborates this by acknowledging that the door to Death's dorm was unlocked when they went to stash the weapons in there. Speaking of the weapons, Fubuki decides to ask the others what they received. God damn it, Fossil. Tarth, Apollo, Felix, Reverie, Nyansme, and Camellia reveal that they received a small pipe bomb, a pair of spiked brass knuckles, a garrote, a syringe with a mysterious green liquid in it, a surgeon's scalpel, and a small packet of sugar-like poison, respectively. So just to clarify, Tarth received the pipe bomb, Apollo received the spiked brass knuckles, Felix received the garrote, Reverie received the syringe with mysterious green liquid, Nyansme received the surgeon's scalpel, and Camellia received a small packet of sugar-like poison, respectively. The other weapons were all locked away. Puppo says it seems pretty clear that none of those were used, and everyone concurs. A garrote, like Garrotte, like one of those like wires. I mean, hi Mint. Anyways, Puppo says that it seems pretty clear none of those weapons were used, and everyone concurs. However, he also points out that nobody found the weapons that Daz and Luciana had been given. Either somebody stole them afterwards, or someone used those weapons to kill them and stash them. He argues that the black thing in the middle must have probably been some sort of a weapon, and they begin arguing about what it might have been. Also, I'll apologize if the science on this case doesn't really pan out. I have not studied science in a long time, so you'll just have to accept that my logic makes sense. This is Junko. You know what? Safe bet. Anyways. As the group descends into arguing about what that thing could have been, Apollo interrupts to suggest that it might have been a car battery. The shape and volume seem to generally match, and the color would too. Also, hi Jay. I'm glad you're so excited. Tarth retorts that a car battery isn't a lethal weapon, and Apollo replies that it could be against him. While most humans are already pretty vulnerable to electricity, you know, your heart can stop pretty easily. Do not put a shock collar on a human, just as a general note. That will fuck up, like you can die so easily from that. That's a side point. Anyways, while most humans are already pretty vulnerable to electricity just in general, Apollo's an android. Even a very slight shock or a slightly off electrical current would be enough. And it would take far less than would even be noticeable for most humans, since the metal in his body would conduct it far better. He also points out that, since the furniture in their dorms was made of plastic and the doors and siding were seemingly coated in paint that made them resistant to the water, that likely nothing else that the water would have collided with would have become electrically charged. Squidgy, you were the first killer. You hugged Henrik to death. Anyways, Tarth says that he's being ridiculous. Like, is his theory that Daz and Luciana were trying to kill Apollo? And Apollo says yes. Their theory is that one of the two of them had received a car battery in their packages, or perhaps had one from before from somewhere, and were going to use it to execute a plan to kill him. Also, yes, your execution was called The Tears of a Himbo, and you were in a theater with a whole bunch of other clones of you, like dummies, and then someone started singing a very sad song, and then you started crying, and then the rest of them started crying, and it flooded the place and drowned you. I was very proud of that one. I thought it was creative. Yeah, don't fuck with electricity. Seriously so dangerous. Anyways, Apollo says that yes, that is theory. One of the two of them had received a car battery in their packages, or perhaps had one from something before. Maybe it was part of somebody's talent show. Luciana is the ultimate secret agent. Maybe part of that task is torture. And the two of them were going to use it to execute a plan to kill him. The second he stepped out of bed and set foot in the electrified water, he would have been fried in his room, while the others would be none the wiser, since the current likely wouldn't be enough to affect them. Nyansame points out that this doesn't exactly explain how or why Daz and Luciana ended up being burnt to a crisp. Even if Apollo's theory is correct, there's no car battery on Earth that would do that. Joffie points out that it's possible somebody lied about their weapon. Maybe someone else had something that allowed them to generate a much stronger electrical current. Also, the water wouldn't be enough by itself to conduct that much electricity. Like, you need some sort of a salt electrolyte mix to begin with. When people start giving Joffie some weird looks, like, you know a little bit too much about how this might work. He panics a little bit and he just says, I saw this on a TV show at one point. This was actually a Mythbusters thing. I think they tried to put a taser into a water gun. Anyways, Blind got access to an entire winter. So now we just gotta figure out who the bird VTuber is, because they got killed by it. Anyways, nobody bothered to taste test the water to see if it was particularly salty, but it's possible that Daz and Luciana had raided the kitchen for those materials or had requested them somehow. Nyansame reiterates again that might allow the current to travel through the water a little bit better, but it's not enough to produce a stronger current to do what happened to them. And, maybe more importantly, the car battery itself got melted. Fubuki also realizes something. Of the weapons provided to everybody, they're all single-target weapons. Even the car battery, while technically applicable to everyone, realistically can only kill one person this way or can be used as a bludgeon. Also, hi Ghastly, and hi Baby Olive Pancakes. Welcome in. But anyways, Fubuki says that is with one exception. Tarth claimed he had a pipe bomb. She reasons that it wouldn't really make sense to give someone a weapon that's not only so distinctive, but which would also likely kill way too many people at once. The producers clearly want 2 kills at once at most. And a pipe bomb would just be way too risky. It could leave them with fewer than 6 survivors, or it could kill off the mastermind by accident. And it just isn't really sporting, we'll say. Especially compared to the others. Apollo points out that Tarth never actually showed him the pipe bomb. And everyone confirms he never showed them either. He just said that he had one. And Tarth says that they were only trying to keep people safe. He never used one exactly, so he had no idea if it'd be possible to accidentally set it off. Kameli retorts that it's a fucking pipe bomb. Everyone knows what causes those to go off, and it doesn't happen by accident. That's common sense. Apollo, almost to himself, mentions that not everyone would have known about his vulnerability to electricity. He told Tarth, because they're close, they were roommates, and had maybe told a couple others like Felix, but never Luciana or Daz. Reverie points out that probably means nothing. Luciana was the ultimate secret agent and had proven in the past to be pretty good at digging up dirt. It's possible that they just dredged it up from somewhere, but it's not impossible for the 2 of them to have found it out and constructed a plot based around it. Tarth asks why it matters how they would know, and Jaewon responds that it's obvious. Whoever killed Daz and Luciana clearly knew about their plan. Otherwise, how would they know to shock the water? Which meant that it has to have somehow been someone who knew about Apollo's vulnerability. On top of that, Jaewon argues, it would have to be someone who had a motive to kill to protect Apollo. So, he points the finger at Tarth. Tarth asks how that makes any sense, but Jaewon points out that Tarth knew about the vulnerability, that Tarth and Apollo were dating. I don't know why. I guess you guys are dating. I forgot that I put that in this. They are dating in real life. I promise I'm not being parasocial or weird. And Jaewon thinks that Tarth's weapon seems to be a lie. In fact, Jaewon goes a step further, arguing that Tarth's weapon was probably some sort of high-powered stun baton or a taser. Something that, unlike the car battery, would be lethal to a wider range of people but would still be single target. Apollo defends Tarth, saying there's no way he would do it and demanding that Tarth defend himself. And points out that Jaewon is really swinging for the fences out of absolutely nowhere on someone who really didn't have any evidence against him. But before the argument can go further, the announcement rings out that the debate period is over. It's time to vote. Okay, I'm glad I hit the right one. Let me see. I'm gonna give you guys how long is there's another minute in the prediction. God, Puppo, they really think brutal out here. Anyways, so yeah, Jaewon's a messy bitch who lives for drama. That does sound on brand. Yeah, so just for people who are watching this as a VoD perhaps and can't see this for themselves, 84% of the points bet on this prediction were for Puppo at 13,000 or 13.4k. Although to be fair, 13,000 of those were just from Mind. Tarth received 8% of the votes. Apollo received 0%, but still not 0. It's just that, less than 1%. Jaewon received 30 total points worth of gambling. Felix received none. 1% of votes went to Joffie. Less than 1% went to Fubuki, but still some. Less than 1% also went to Reverie, but still not none. And nobody voted for Nyansume. There's also 6% who voted for other. The submissions are closed. And it's time for the voting. Also, let me just see if I can fix this in advance, because I don't know why it's not playing the audio properly. Let's see. We're gonna change it fast. Oh god. Before it shows any votes, hopefully. Okay, there we go. Sorry. I hate that does that. Hi Demi, welcome in. Well, I mean, there's a few, we've had a couple double murder chapters already. A lot of people are dying, but we've got the predictions in. Who is the killer? I'll turn down the volume a little bit because it's loud. Papa votes for Fubuki. Daz is dead. Leo is dead. Henrik is dead. This top row is suffering a little bit. Tarth votes for Fubuki as well. Apollo votes for Tarth. Death is dead. Jay votes for Cottony. Felix votes for Tarth. Joffie votes for Apollo. Fubuki votes for Tarth. Reverie votes for Tarth. Nyansume votes for Apollo. Camellia votes for Felix. Yuki is dead. Squidgy is dead. Mo votes for Puppo. Cottony votes for Mo. And Luciana is dead. And so, our votes are tallied. And our killer is... Or should I line this up better with the sound of the scrolling, but whatever. It's Tarth! Your schemes, your plans, your manipulations, they have not worked. So let's explain what happened. Again, imagine the congratulations, you won. Yeah, exactly. Let's explain how it happened. So, Tarth had overheard Daz and Luciana plotting in the morning that day, with Daz offering Luciana a position as his right hand if they could escape together. Luciana, then, was the one who did most of the work here. They'd requested that the producers deliver some sort of lethal weapon to everyone to throw them off the scent of the car battery that they were ordering as well. After everyone went to bed, Luciana snuck into Yuki's old room and plugged the sink in to flood the floor. Ordinarily, they would have preferred to just set the trap alone, but Daz had to be present in order for it to count as a buddy system kill. So the two of them met in the lobby and waited for the water to flood enough of the floor to set the trap. Daz mixed in the salt/electrolyte mixture made from the materials that they'd scavenged that Luciana had identified for him, and poured it into the water. And that was when Tarth, who had received a high-intensity stun baton, went into action. After waiting at the door to listen in on them, feeling the water lapping at his feet, he climbed on top of his bed, activated the stun baton, and dropped it into the water. The only indication he had that his plan had worked was the sound of crackling as the clothes of his victims burst into flames on the other side of the door. Once the crackling died down and he was confident the battery and would-be killers were eliminated, he used a piece of rubber to pull the baton up and just prayed the current would disappear before anyone else woke up. Tarth tries to argue, or no. Yeah, then everyone emerged in the morning to find the blackened corpses of the two there. I'm tripping myself up. Anyways, Tarth argues that, while he was just one killer, his knowledge of Apollo's vulnerability, and Apollo giving that knowledge to him, meant that Apollo should count as his buddy for the kill. And so he should be let out, even if Tarth has to be executed. Unfortunately, the announcer disagrees. This plot was clearly carried out without Apollo's knowledge or participation, so only Tarth is the blackened here. Sobbing, the two hug and say their goodbyes before Tarth is whisked away. And for Tarth, it's such a stupid name, I'm so sorry. We have Dr. Jones' Wake Up Now. Tarth, the ultimate explorer, is dropped into the middle of a giant stone maze with nothing but a compass and a map to try and guide himself out. He begins to make his way towards the exit, only to discover that the maze's walls are shifting around to change the path. Determined, the ultimate explorer continues on his way out, dodging deadly traps and slowly making progress. That is, until they hear a strange mechanical clicking. Pausing in a four-way intersection and turning around, Tarth spots a strange mechanical creature rolling towards him. It's strange, it's white, kind of oval-shaped, and seems to have one big eye in the middle of the top of its head. As he tries to figure out what exactly it is, he hears another, and another, and another. The robots are coming at him from all directions, and as Tarth tries to make a plan, a spear shoots out of one of them, impaling him through the stomach. Howling in pain, Tarth tries to remove the spear and run, but he can't. The others begin firing too, one after another, increasing in speed. The robots fire spears at Tarth until his body disappears in a flurry of metal. When the dust settles and the robots begin to roll away, all that's left behind is the compass and map. He got kebabbed. Definitely didn't rip that one off of a different game. Process of Elimination is a fun game. It is one of the games of all time for sure. But that means that Tarth was our blackened. Who did predict that, actually? Did anyone predict Tarth? Not many. Uniclover is the only one. Congrats, Uniclover. You got a payout at 1 to 12.75. Oh, yeah, no, there were more than 500 points. That was just the biggest points one. 6 people got points on that one. Spear of Gungnir. Yeah. Yes. That's our third execution. The resurrected powers of any info is given. Yeah, no, you can definitely... You can save your votes for later on, I promise. But anyways. Let's see, what do I have for after the execution? Obviously, Apollo is distraught and sprints out of the class trial room immediately, and Felix follows shortly behind. The others, simply shocked at what happened, begin to make their way back to their dorms. And with that, the current state of things. That first row, you guys are not having a good time. Things are not going great for you. Yeah, shocked. Puppo is the only survivor of our top row. But we're down to 11 survivors, which means that after the next person is killed, we can fit everyone into the predictions, which will be exciting. Puppo will be at top. Oh my god, I know. This is the ultimate fiction. Advantage. Oh yeah, that reminds me. So we've got Luciana. Luciana's art is really good. I like it a lot. They're like sort of white, blue, black, or like they're very subtle, like light blues with the white and black. It's so good. And we also have Daz, King Dazzy Daz, who's lovely. Also has a really good design. Purple hair is very good. Make sure to keep up with our ultimate secret agent and our ultimate king. And, of course, poor Tarth, our ultimate explorer. Yeah, so there'll be 6 survivors from each group, with all of them going on to the All-Stars round at the end. Also, brief vibe check. How's everyone? I hope people are enjoying this, because I have really no idea. I'm having fun. I hope the rest of you are having fun. That is getting close. You know what? I might run to the bathroom. I feel like it's actually a good idea to like take a break between the chapters and sort of like go to the bathroom, figure out our stuff, get some water, get some rest, and then come back in. Get some while you cook. Hell yeah. Oh, thank you, Leo. I'm glad. I mean, I've said it a bunch of times, but like I was really worried that people were gonna be like, this is weird. What you're doing is weird. Yeah, I'm glad it was fun, Kat. And yeah, again, if anyone is not able to stick around for the whole time and wants to keep up with it, you can find all the VoDs over here. They'll be up in the morning. This is weird. Yeah. I mean, I definitely had more fun than I would have with the Smasher Pass. I also tried to include everyone as much as possible, but yeah. Anyways, we're about to move on to the next chapter, but we'll take our break. I'll be honest, I forgot to come up with names for a lot of the chapters, as it turns out, until right near the end. But we'll move on soon. Excuse me. Anyways, running the ad, running to the bathroom, getting water, all that good stuff. See you guys in a couple of minutes. Abah. Being so mean and staring. So rude. Ina, the horse here. Oops. My pen is like fucked. I don't know what's going on with it. It's like spilling out too much ink. This is gonna be impossible to read later. But anyways. Also, honestly, we're making really good time. Yes, okay. So time for us to go back to this music for the beginning of chapter 4. Right? This is the right one? Yes. Thank God. Okay. So, for chapter 4, titled Don't Leave Me Brokenhearted, we start out immediately on night 12, same day as the last murders. Everyone in the group is trying their best to go and comfort Apollo, but he's been pushing them away. Clearly doesn't really want to talk to people right now, even his close friend Felix, who's been with him throughout this whole thing. After all, Apollo and Felix are sparring buddies, they're both fighters. Eventually, the group decides there's just not really much to be done for it tonight, and they head to bed. In the morning, hi Apollo. In the morning, everyone gathers for breakfast, except for Apollo. They agree to continue to trying to help him feel better, and throughout the day, they're just going to try and, reach out to him, include him, see what's going on. However, as the morning progresses into the afternoon, it becomes clear that no matter how many people try, it seems like Apollo just straight up isn't receptive. Multiple people straight up emerge with wounds after trying to get close to him when he smacks them away or throws things to try and make them leave. Eventually, the group decides that maybe for the sake of their own self-preservation, they'll just go about their day, hoping that maybe he'll join them once he cools off. Yeah, wounds. I should say, of the group, the ones who have not emerged unscathed are Fubuki, Felix, Jaewon, Cammy, and Mo. Eventually, everyone goes... It's all pipe bomb around here. Yeah, that was your... a broken stun baton is your only inheritance from Tarth, unfortunately. But anyways, as day turns to night, everyone just goes to bed. But they're still keeping an eye out. And they realize nobody's seen Apollo for maybe a little bit too long. He hasn't come back. he hasn't been doing anything. So, Jaewon, Fubuki, and Nyansume decide to go looking for them. And upon walking into the training facility... Wait, where is the... There it is. Apollo, I want you to know that it was really funny when you were like, you got here at an interesting moment for yourself. I'll say that for sure. Yeah, this one was a fast chapter. There wasn't even time for a new incentive. You did join your boyfriend though. Tarth was executed just a minute ago. This is so true, Fossil. Okay, let me start the prediction real quick. We'll get that ready to go. Who was the Blackened of Chapter 4? Who killed Apollo? Oh, so wait, who are our survivors still? We've got Puppo. We don't have Tarth anymore. We also don't have Apollo. Jaewon. Felix. We can fit everyone onto it now. Look at that. Isn't that exciting? We can actually do a full prediction instead of having some people become othered. Reverie. Nyansume. No, and Cottony. There we go. Let's start our predictions. Killer is Apollo. So true. Anyways. The facts of the murder. The sixth death, Apollo. Apollo was found dead in the corner of the boxing ring in the training facility. After the body announcement is played and the others arrive, they're provided with the evidence in the case. Someone has beaten Apollo to death. And given the damage to Apollo's own knuckles, it seems it was a knockdown brawl that he fought until the end. The time of death is unclear, meaning it could have happened at any point in the afternoon when people were going about their day. With a lack of evidence, it all comes down to what can be found in the class trial. Where's my class trial music? This one? There we go. How are the... Puppo, were they already throwing you under the bus? Also, hi, Tenchi. Yes, you and Apollo both got here as Apollo died. So, as was stated, Apollo was dead in the corner of the boxing ring in the training facility. Someone has beaten Apollo to death, and given the damage to his own knuckles, it seems it was a knockdown brawl that he fought until the end. Time of death is unclear, meaning it could have happened at any point in the afternoon when people are going about their day. With a lack of evidence, it'll all come down to this. Dare I say deserved? His boyfriend just got executed for trying to save his life. It was a lot. Anyways, at the class trial, Puppo immediately asserts that anyone without injury should be removed from suspicion. After all, while some people did receive injuries from other scuffles with Apollo, he clearly fought back hard against whoever killed him, meaning that whoever did it likely also sustained some injuries. That leaves Fubuki, Felix, Jaewon, Cammy, and Mo as the possible suspects. Reverie argues that it's possible the injuries that Apollo received were possibly self-inflicted. I mean, he was going through a lot, and it can't be fully written off as a possibility. Joffie affirms that, saying that the training facility did look pretty beaten up, and it's possible Apollo did it to themselves. It's Kyoko. Felix immediately rejects this argument, saying that Apollo wanted to live. Mo raises an eyebrow, asking how Felix would know that since Apollo hadn't been talking to anyone. To which Felix responds and says he just knows Apollo wouldn't want to die. If anything, he'd probably want to live more than anyone else. Puppo interjects to concur, saying that Apollo probably wouldn't end his own life right after Tarth died trying to save him. But Mo suggests it's possible that Apollo wanted to join Tarth instead. Nyansume rejects this, saying that Apollo would know that robots don't have souls. The robophobia immediately turns everyone hostile to Nyansume, and they quickly apologize. Puppo points out that Apollo was specifically beaten to death, saying that the killer must be someone with combat prowess, or at least some reasonable strength. He points to Fubuki as being the most likely to be combat trained enough to kill Apollo, and in a way that Apollo wouldn't be able to defend. And also suggests that maybe Mo would be strong enough to win the fight even without being trained. Fubuki, pretty pissed at being constantly accused of this shit, says that there's also somebody else. It could have been Felix. After all, Felix is the ultimate boxer. That's definitely within his range of abilities. Felix says that's outrageous. Apollo was his friend, as was Tarth, frankly, and Puppo concurs. It's probably Fubuki, the only one who is known to be trained specifically as a killer. Fubuki doesn't really have a great defense for this initially. It's true that she knows how to kill, but that doesn't mean she did it. She points out that her training revolves around weapons, not brute strength, and that her methods probably wouldn't work on Apollo even if she did try, since an android is presumably built different than a human. She reminds them that Apollo had established in Tarth's trial that he had metal skin. Whatever abilities she might have, that doesn't necessarily mean she has the brute strength to push through metal. Reverie says that it sounds like she's pointing the finger at either Felix or Mo, which Fubuki says wasn't her intention. Reverie retorts that her intention doesn't really matter here. Process of elimination narrows it down to those two. Mo argues that he was just simply not there. He was on his walk, and Felix says that the same thing. He was in his room. There's no proof, nothing tying into that, and someone probably would have seen him. But that doesn't prove anything. Malky's from Danganronpa V3. Also excellent. Joffie also points out that Felix's wounds look like they might be a little fresher than those of the others. Things have started to scab over now, but at the start of the trial he was still bleeding a little bit, which Joffie suggests might indicate that he re-encountered Apollo and got some new ones. Felix says that that's untrue. He just accidentally reopened them by picking at them. Puppo once again interrupts to say that they should not be letting Fubuki off the hook so easily. But Jaewon tells him to please calm down, it is not always Fubuki. And crucially, Jaewon points out, they don't need to identify the cause of death. They only need to identify a perpetrator. So, who was it? Before he can elaborate on his theory, the announcer once again interrupts. It's time to vote. We'll leave the prediction open a little bit. This one's been a bit of a shorter chapter. I wanted it to be a reflect that it was meant to be like very frantic after. Yeah, I'll explain myself more after it's all said and done, but it is very funny to me. Anyways, okay. We can give it another like 15, 20 seconds. Hi, Axie, welcome in. Yeah. So, for people who are watching this as a VoD, Puppo is currently at 43% of the voting. Jaewon is at 9%. Felix is at 41%. Joffie has no votes. Fubuki has 6% of the vote. Reverie, Nyansei, and Camellia all have 0 votes. Mo, I guess the long shot vote here, has 1% of the vote, and Cottony also has none. Maybe a few more seconds, and then we'll call it, and we'll reveal. I feel like Toko. I don't know if Toko's the right one. I'm not sure who would. I think Maki probably is the best comparison there. Anyways, we're gonna end the submissions. And let's see. Who killed our ultimate martial artist, the android, Project Apollo? We're gonna have to fix the voting video thing again real quick. Just give me 1 sec. We're gonna rush it. This doesn't work properly ever. Sorry, it's too loud also. Okay. Felix, did you vote for yourself? You really don't have a lot of confidence in yourself. Or maybe you do. Maybe you really are like, yeah, I definitely could do it. Wait, did it close the prediction, right? Yes, okay. So, let's get into it. We'll turn on the volume again. Next time I'll have this fixed, I promise. Puppo votes for Fubuki. Daz is dead. Leo is dead. Henrik is dead. Tarth is dead. Apollo is dead. And Death is dead. 6 body kill streak there. Jay votes for Joffie. Felix votes for Cottony. Joffie votes for Felix. Fubuki votes for Jaewon. Reverie votes for Cottony. Nyansume votes for Fubuki. Camellia votes for Jaewon. Yuki is dead. Squidgy is dead. Mo votes for Puppo. Cottony votes for Felix. And Luciana is dead. Which means we've got a few ties here between Fubuki, Jaewon, and Felix. So who done it? Who's our killer? Is Felix. It was Felix all along. But how did Felix do it? And why? Well, Felix had, indeed, gone back to Apollo during the afternoon. He didn't attack him, though. He offered to just spar with Apollo to let him get out his feelings instead of trying to talk it through with him. Maybe words weren't the solution. Apollo agreed, and the two began sparring. However, as the sparring went on, Apollo started to swing harder and harder at Felix, moving far beyond the typical practice punches and moving closer and closer to full strength, forcing Felix to match strength to protect himself. Initially, Felix just tried to play defense, hoping that Apollo would calm down once he'd vented those frustrations. However, the onslaught only intensified, and it became clear that Apollo had lost control, and that Felix couldn't play defense forever. Apollo could easily outlast him, and if even one good punch got through and connected, that might be it for Felix. So, Felix tried to fight back, trying not to hit too hard, aiming for somewhere along the lines of enough to stun Apollo so he could be restrained, but not enough to kill him. But it wasn't working. Nothing seemed to be able to knock him out of his frenzy. And even as Felix began to intensify the punches and deal more serious injuries, Apollo kept coming at him. Finally, Felix delivers a clean powerhouse punch squarely to Apollo's nose, caving in his face and sending him flying into the post in the corner. Upon seeing Apollo stop moving, Felix panicked and fled, pretending he had never been there. After all, not only had he murdered his friend Apollo, but had disrespected the efforts of his friend Tarth to try and keep Apollo alive in the last chapter. As this is revealed, he breaks down in tears, and the group just stands there, not knowing what to make of this. Hold on. Felix might not have meant to kill Apollo, but he did just beat his friend to death. But there's not a lot of time to recover from that, because now it's time for the execution. The execution of Felix Santos, Rock'em Sakura. Felix is dragged into a boxing stadium filled with cheering dummies in the stands and is tied to a pole in the middle of the ring. From the other entrance, a combat dummy emerges, dressed like a Rock'em Sock'em toy. As soon as it enters the ring, Felix is released and punches it out, only for two more dummies to emerge. As Felix fights his way through waves and waves of dummies, he notices they stopped looking like dummies, stopped looking like Rock'em Sock'em dolls, and started looking a little more like real people. They're dressed up in real clothes, they seem to have more active expressions, and they seem to be fighting more like real people. Felix feels himself getting more and more tired, but keeps pushing on, until eventually the waves of dummies stop. Relieved, he takes a knee to take a breather, only for all the lights to go out. When they come back on, a new foe has appeared in the ring. A dummy of legendary ultimate martial artist, the title that Apollo just held until recently, Sakura Ogami, who immediately launches into a flurry of attacks on Felix. He's unable to land a punch, and just like he did to Apollo, soon the Sakura dummy lands a devastating blow squarely on the nose, sending him flying back into the post as the dummies scream and cheer for Sakura. That feels in bad taste, but also it's really funny, so I'll allow it. Because I'm pretty sure one of the things that Felix said in the like submission was like,
"What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? Hey, what's wrong? Hey, 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 hey!"
Yeah, something about the Rock'em doll or the Rock'em like the beat 'em up toy. You know what I mean? So I was like, for whatever reason in my brain, I was like, Rock'em Sakura, the drag queen. But I was like, that's stupid. And I don't know how that would connect to anything. But Rock'em Sakura, the former Ultimate Martial Artist, I was like, wait a minute. That would be fun. Anyways, Felix is deceased. Also, I need to allocate the awards. Hold on, wait, let me turn on the moon on the water for a sec. Choose prediction result. It was Felix. Felix was our killer. Honestly, I think I said this to people when I was preparing it. This is kind of just like a creative writing exercise. Deceased the boots head down. Yes, God. It's exactly correct. Anyways. Fubuki, or no, the rest of the group, slowly recovering, almost becoming adjusted to this, starts to come back to their senses. And immediately, Fubuki, terrified of how much suspicion she keeps getting put under, immediately flees the room and goes into hiding. The others initially try and follow her, try and stop her from doing it, but Puppo stops them. She's clearly dangerous, and they need to protect themselves. Puppo also points out that, with only 9 ultimates remaining, they only need to stay safe a little bit longer. And thus ends kind of a shorter chapter again, I apologize. But chapter 4, Don't Leave Me Brokenhearted, which is a reference to a really dumb old song. Also, before actually we move on officially to chapter 5, let me do the little shout out things for everybody. So we've got Apollo. Be sure to go follow Apollo, our ultimate martial artist. They're lovely. Night, Apollo. I'm sorry that you got here just to get instantly murdered. I feel that timing is unfortunate, but I hope you otherwise enjoyed and I hope you have a good sleep. Mwah! And also, we'll do a shout out for Felix, our ultimate boxer. These are all the links to their Twitter accounts, YouTube, Twitter or Twitch, anything that they have, as well as links to their artists. Okay, so that was, since that was a pretty short chapter, do we need to? I don't know. To kill. Yeah, I mean this is why they can have the pipe bomb. But look at our survivors so far. Look at who's made it. Cookies. Yeah, maybe. Anyways, let's see. Let's mark that as the end. And we were making good time. Again, I was really worried that we were going to be doing this forever. Anyways, with that, we're on to chapter 5. And our very upbeat, uplifting music. Pipe bomb, but they can't... I keep on seeing the clips of it. I cannot remember how she says the boar worms. I'll practice that for the next stream. Thank you, Felix. I'm glad. Like, again, this is part of the thing where I was like, I was worried about people being disappointed that they died, or like feeling like they'd gotten the short end of the stick, which is why like people are going to be allowed to, when I do this again, because I think at this point it seems like people are enjoying it, and there were people who submitted for this one but weren't able to be included because they just ran out of space, because there's 19 people in each group. That's already a lot. Like, so we'll probably do it again sometime, and we'll be able to include more people, and people can resubmit. Anyways, just silly blue dog. Puppo's the mastermind is the theory. But he's the ultimate good boy. He would never. Anyways. So I just realized that I've had my video editor open this whole time. Let me just like close that so that maybe my computer performance isn't completely fucking tanking. If it will let me close. There we go. Okay. Ultimate despair boy. So, reminder, we're down to 9, we go to 6, and at this point we begin chapter 5, Getting Hangry. So remember, we ended on night 13, or day 13 was the last day that we had for Felix. I was trying to make Fubuki the ultimate red herring. I love the theory. This is fun. Anyways, chapter 5, getting hangry. We skip ahead to day 17. Fubuki hasn't been seen since Felix's trial, and the other ultimates remain uneasy about her absence, with Reverie, Cottony, and Cammy starting to believe that she might already be dead. Puppo points out that, if that theory is true, a single double kill could end the game right now, and the killer would be able to just walk out with everyone else. But, as is pointed out by Jaewon, if that's an incorrect assumption, then they just become the final blackened. As they're discussing this, a new announcement comes through. The producers have also lost track of Fubuki, and so they want her to reemerge, or for someone to find her, dead or alive. And until she's found, all food will be withheld. So either you find Fubuki, or you starve. The group, hearing this, immediately goes to check the kitchen pantry, and, true to their words, or true to the producer's word, it's been cleared out. This makes things urgent. They need to find Fubuki, and fast. However, by the end of day 17, after a full day of searching, they find nothing. But that doesn't mean it's over yet. They resolve to continue the next day, and for as many days as it takes. And indeed, it might take many days, because 5 days later, on day 22, the group is becoming delirious from hunger, and there's no sight of Fubuki. However, as they explore that day, they discover that a massive obstacle course has been set up in the gymnasium, and Fubuki's sword is perched right at the very top. Jaewon gathers the others, and Mo suggests that Fubuki might return if they can get her sword for her. Puppo says that that's ridiculous, but the others decide that they don't really have any other options anyways, so they might as well. After climbing to the top, stumbling a bit from all the hunger, an argument breaks out. Who should get to take the sword with them? After all, if Fubuki doesn't immediately appear and reclaim the sword, someone's going to have to hold on to it. Mo argues that this is his, I did say that Mo suggests that Fubuki, I think I said Jaewon. Sorry, Mo suggests that Fubuki might return if they got the sword. I apologize, I think I said Jaewon there. Anyways, Mo argues that this was his idea, so he should get to. Look, sometimes I write things wrong or I say them wrong. I promise it doesn't necessarily... For whatever reason, during Tarth's execution, I wrote Apollo's name a lot of times and didn't realize it until I was reading it. Mohart, exactly. Anyways, Mo argues that getting the sword was his idea, so he should get to have it. Reverie insists that anyone who wants the sword is clearly untrustworthy and must have some bad intentions, so it should be somebody else. And as the two continue to argue, Reverie just gets fed up and furious and eventually storms off. The others, not really sure what to do about this but not wanting to antagonize Reverie by taking it, decide to just leave it there for now. Besides, if Fubuki wanted it, she could always get it herself, assuming she was still alive. As day turns to night, everyone goes to bed, stomachs growling, only to be awoken by a terrible crashing noise coming from the main building. Cammy, Cottony, Jaewon, Nyansumi, and Reverie and Puppo rushed out of their rooms or dorms and ran to the building to see what had happened. They entered the gymnasium to find the obstacle course had collapsed, leaving a terrible mess. So terrible that the dust was still settling. But when it settled, they realized the pile of rubble wasn't just rubble. Joffie's body is peeking out from under it. But not just Joffie. Mo's body is there too. We've got another double kill. Also, I just realized, why is their thing behind them? Oh, I fucked this up. God damn it. I can't believe that I forgot to put the banner on them properly. I apologize for that. They're sitting in front of the banner. We're just going to have to be okay with that for now, I think. But yeah. We've got a lot of deaths here. The details of the murder. Joffie and Mo's bodies were buried under the rubble of the obstacle course, with the sword in Joffie's hand. There was no indication of any other weapons around them, and upon further investigation, the sword turned out to only be a shitty plastic replica. An announcement comes over the speakers, and initially, Puppo's pretty excited, believing that Fubuki must have been dead, so the remaining 6 are now the winners. But that joy soon turns to ash as it's revealed that the final 7 would still have to have a class trial. Emphasis on final 7. However, they would be fed again, as it would be cruel to not give the Blackened a last meal. The group hesitates, wanting to continue the investigation now, but Nyan's reasons that there's no way they'd be able to conduct a thorough investigation in their current states. They rush to the kitchen and eat, before returning to investigate. And before long, it was time for the class trial. Also, let me just make sure there's not yeah, okay, I didn't fuck up and leave a secret. Yeah, so I have, I feel dumb. I had that correct, and then for whatever reason, I didn't do the last bit right. You guys are being silly. Interesting. I like seeing the theories, but as our class trial begins, also I need to keep scrolling around for the music because it's all over the place. Let me get our prediction ready to go. Because someone did it. Also, wait, take a screenshot of the last one too. I'm so mad at myself for for missing that one detail though. So I tried really hard to get that right with everyone, and then for whatever reason, just skipped my mind with them. But anyways, starting a prediction. And as was mentioned earlier in the discussion between Jaewon and Puppo, remember, this is the final Blackened. There's 7 of them alive right now. Whoever did it will go, and then they'll be left with 6. It's almost over, guys. Anyways, our survivors. In fact, we have not enough people to fill out the full prediction thing anymore. That's kind of sad. Jaewon, Fubuki, Reverie, Yansume, Melia, and Kodni. Only 7. Isn't that tragic? Where is Fubuki? That is the question indeed. Well, as I said, before long it was time for the class trial. And as everyone filed into the class trial room, they found Fubuki already standing there. Immediately, Puppo said she must be behind it, because of course Puppo did. She was the only one who wasn't present, and she probably put the fake sword up there as a trap to begin with. Fubuki begs everyone to just please hear her out, and she explains what happened over the last few days. Initially, she had run off out of fear that she would be targeted. However, after a few days, she wasn't sure how many, the producers were able to capture her as she snuck into the kitchen to get food. And this is presumably when they decided on the motive of starvation. She says that they held her hostage in a strange concrete cell for the last few days, only releasing her into the class trial room just before they got there. She hasn't been briefed at all on what happened, or what's going on, or what you're doing here, what I'm doing here, what this place is about, but she's determined to confirm or to convince them all that she didn't do it. So, the group fills her in, saying that the killer presumably believed that she was dead and were operating off of the theory that Puppo and Reverie, Cottony, and Cammy had, that she was already gone, so a double kill would let them all go free. Meaning that the killer probably is one of the believers, Reverie, Cottony, Camellia, or Puppo. They all, of course, vehemently deny this theory, with Puppo pointing out that there's no way for them to have known that they'd even be able to kill 2 people with the tower. Puppo argues that someone came in after they left for the day, and presumably loosened a bunch of bolts, with the goal of it collapsing once someone was on it. Fubuki says she agrees with this theory, but says that it doesn't disprove hers. If the tower collapsed and killed 1 person, and the announcement had said that the final 7 had to go to a class trial, then whoever the Blackened was could have just murdered another person in broad daylight and that would have ended the game. Nyansume suggests that this method seemed unlikely for all of those people. I mean, just based on their abilities. The ultimate good boy, the ultimate star boy, the ultimate mixologist, and the ultimate sweet talker don't necessarily seem like the type to understand the engineering mechanics necessary for this to happen. Fubuki, though, retorts that that's not actually true, Ellen. Reverie's ultimate, as the star boy, encapsulates stuff like space exploration. And, depending on their strain, there might be a lot of engineering involved in that. Cottony also points out that Reverie was the one who got angry at Mo for wanting the sword. And Cammy concurs, saying that the trap was clearly laid to kill anyone who went for it. It wasn't just meant to trap them, it was meant to kill. But Reverie points out that that wouldn't explain why Joffie had the sword, which Jaewon rebuts by saying that that doesn't really matter. Again, the only thing they must prove is who set the trap and killed them, and Jaewon says that Reverie seems the most suspicious here. Reverie, meanwhile, argues that Fubuki definitely could have still set the trap. Like, why are we letting her off the hook? There's no way to prove that she's innocent. It's just her word, and the producers wouldn't confirm or deny the story because they want drama. And Puppo agrees with Reverie. This argument continues back and forth, with no progress being made in either direction, until Fubuki, frustrated, suggests simply deliberately splitting the vote between herself and Reverie. If one of them is the killer, then whoever it is, the survivors still win with a tie. Reverie argues that this is ridiculous. It's clearly Fubuki, and she's just going to try and twist the votes to make sure she gets out. So, Fubuki proposes a plan. Puppo and Reverie, who are the most clearly latched onto the theory that Fubuki is guilty, will vote for her. Fubuki and Jaewon, meanwhile, will vote for Reverie. Everyone else is free to vote for whoever, as long as it's not one of those two, and to let it come out in the wash. Before anyone can respond to this plan, the announcement comes through. It's voting time. So, that's where we stand as we enter the voting. We've got a plan proposed by Fubuki for Puppo and Reverie to vote for Fubuki, and for Fubuki and Jaewon to vote for Reverie, and everyone else is kind of a wild card. And, crucially, there's 3 of them. If they vote together, they could overwhelm any of those voters. The killer can cast the deciding vote, assuming that it's not Reverie or Fubuki. Because if either of them are, then they're voting for the other anyways. Anyways. Let's see, what are the predictions looking like? We'll give it another minute or so because this has been a short trial. I feel like I took longer with the earlier ones. Oh, Jesus, Reverie, they are not on your side. So there's 1% for Puppo, 16% for Jaewon, 1% for Fubuki, 82% for Reverie, and none of the others have any points. You did! And when you said that, I was like, that's certainly an interesting idea. I wonder if they would ever do that. Now, why am I in this? Look. Who knows? Oh, also, hold on, let me get that. Honestly, kind of surprised that's our first bot. Oh, well, that's cool. Hold on. I shouldn't have jinxed it, I'm sorry, that's on me. Anyways, I think that's all the bots now. That happened to me the other day too, where like a bunch of them yeah, I was worried that it was going to be a bot raid and I was a little worried. But it did happen the other day where like a bunch of them came through all at once. But anyways, the bots are dead. And a couple more seconds for everyone to vote if you want to predict, if you want to spend your points, if you've got an idea of who you think it might be, now's the time to do so. The bots are, I mean, also, yeah, the bots are dead. The robophobia is strong in this sim. I mean, it could be Fubuki. It could be Reverie. Who's to say? It could be a secret other option. Alright, we're going to end the submissions in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So, again, just for the VoD's viewers, I was looking for the suggestion for your head. I might actually do that. What's the fucking Simpsons quote? The like... She poisoned our water supply, burned our crops, and delivered a plague onto our houses. She did? No, but are we gonna just wait around until she does? Anyways. So, with that, it's time for the voting. Also, I just realized that that probably means that the Joffie and Mo asset's gonna be fucked up for that one too. No, that one's a Simpsons quote. There's probably something similar in SpongeBob, though. Anyways. Are we prepared to see who our final blackened is? I almost clicked on the wrong one and revealed it immediately, but I didn't. Oh, fuck, we're gonna need to do the thing where I, like, really quickly have to set the audio to be fixed. Ah. It's gonna be too loud. Every time I do that, I have to go so fast, and I panic that I'm gonna, like, accidentally reveal the wrong thing, and it's gonna be over. But anyways. Now let's go. I want you guys to know that to make these, like, voting screen assets, there's, like, 80 or so PNGs that have to be rotated through. I did not do this very efficiently. Is it me? Am I the drama? God, so many dead people. Puppo did vote for Fubuki. Jaewon votes for Reverie. Felix is dead. Joffie is dead. Fubuki votes for Reverie. Reverie votes for Fubuki. And Nyansame votes for Jaewon. Did someone fuck up the plan? Kami votes for Nyansame. Yuki is dead. Squidgy is dead. Puppo voted for Luciana in the first round. Cottony voted for Kami. Also, hi Chase. Yes, there's a lot of dead bodies here. And we're about to figure out who our last one is. Who's our final killer? It's Reverie! They didn't fuck up the plan, they did it! So, let's choose our outcome. Yes, unfortunately, for some people who have some real beef with Fubuki, he lives to die another day. So, how did Reverie do it? What was the game plan here? Well, let's talk it out. The hunger they get out. That's so true. Anyways, as the days of starvation had gone on with no sign of Fubuki, the Ultimates began getting delirious from hunger. And after finding Fubuki's sword and accompanying the gymnasium at the top of a massive obstacle course, things finally boiled over. Reverie was convinced that Mo was plotting something, and, after storming off, began collecting tools to start weakening the structure. The goal was to make sure that it would only collapse if someone heavy enough stood on it. Reverie believed that only Mo would do it, but on the off chance that somebody else went for the sword, he trusted them. Unbeknownst to Reverie, Joffie had actually become fixated on the sword as the way to finally get Fubuki to reveal herself and let them eat again, and out of desperation had returned in the night to recover it. Joffie was too light to topple it and so made it to the top safely. However, upon reaching the top and grabbing the sword, he realized, or he looked around and saw there was no magical Fubuki materialization, and with his last hope gone, broke down in tears. Mo, who had actually been planning to come recover the sword himself, heard Joffie's crying and came in. He tried to comfort him, but it was clear that he was irreconcilably distraught. And so, Mo climbed up to carry him down, and that was enough weight for the structure to collapse, killing the two as a result. Oh wait, we'll do this. We'll do the somber reveal stuff to this. Reverie, losing all hope, reveals that Fubuki had been right. He had believed that she was dead and had planned to kill Mo with the obstacle course and then just pick off a random person. Get them to 6, get them out. And that was still his plan after the accidental double kill revealed Fubuki was still alive. But after he'd eaten, he snapped back to his senses and realized that all he'd managed to do was kill 2 of his friends. And he absolutely could not bring himself to kill a third. So, while he fought to save himself as the Blackened, he was willing to accept his fate. And accept his execution. And so, the ultimate Starboy, Reverie, executed with blasting off again. Reverie, strapped to a rocket, waved goodbye to his fellow Ultimates before being launched into the sky, flew through the atmosphere out into space, where he began to suffocate. But then, the rocket turned around, came back down, and started drilling straight through the Earth instead. The heat of the core cooked Reverie alive for just a bit, but he emerged barely holding on to life as the rocket cleared the other side of the planet. Reverie got one final look at the stars before plunging back down to Earth for a final time, falling back into the hole already made, with the Earth's gravity proving too strong for the rocket to escape a second time. Reverie and the rocket got stuck at the Earth's core, and as the heat increased, and as the pressure increased, Reverie was slowly pressure cooked. Until eventually there was nothing left at all. Look, I wanted to do the blast off execution, but unfortunately I kind of forgot how it went, and I was trying to edit this right at the very end. Plus it just felt appropriate. You know, Starboy, not quite an astronaut, but close. And with that, Reverie is dead. Which means they're down to their final 6. We have our winners. We have our survivors of the first group. I wish I had better music for it, but we'll have to just go with the default one. Look at this. Look at our people. A burnt chicken nugget, unfortunate. But yes, rest in peace to all of our many dead and deceased. But congratulations to our 6 survivors. Also, let me just do the shout out really quick for Mo. Go follow Mo. Mo's design is so pretty. I really like it a lot. We've got Joffie's. Joffie's design is also so cute. Banana milk barista is such an adorable. I like it a lot. I like all of the designs a lot. And of course, Reverie, the ultimate Starboy. Our 6 survivors: Puppo, the ultimate good boy; Jaewon, the ultimate shaman; Fubuki, the ultimate ninja; Nyansame, the ultimate funeral director; Kemi, the ultimate mixologist; and Cottony, the ultimate sweet talker. We'll move on to the Summertime Stars All-Stars round. They will be joined by 12 more survivors from the next rounds, with Frozen Frenzy happening on Thursday of this week, and Despair Downpour happening on Saturday, with the All-Stars round happening on Sunday. All of them are going to happen around the same time. I think I had something written for this too. Yes, they're free, they're released back into the world, and they'll get to watch their competitors' seasons. The 6 survivors emerged from the school excited to enjoy their freedom, but, as you might expect, the mastermind did escape alongside them, unbeknownst to the group. Or at least, unbeknownst to most of them. Or most of them? Most of them. Fuck. I'm struggling. The mastermind had made one crucial error, one thing that gave away how suspicious they were. But, we'll have to figure out what that is later. The roles of the mastermind will play a role in the Summertime Stars one. I think you're a 6th alternate, because the first alternate is 2nd. Yeah. I'm excited to see what results of this. I say as if I haven't already done this season. But anyways, yeah, that's the first round of this. That's the Virtual Killing Academy Fall of Hope. I hope you guys had fun. I hope this was enjoyable for you. I had a lot of fun making this. I'm very glad that it seems to have turned out relatively well, because that was I was so worried that it would either turn out really badly, or that people would find it really cringe, or that there just wouldn't be many people who cared. Its ability has excellent taste and is full of talented artistic people. Fubuki Master. I mean, maybe Puppo was onto something. Stage play live action. I'll save the script for when I eventually get a chance. But also, I guess we should probably shout out our survivors. We have Puppo, our ultimate good boy. We've got Jaewon. Hope I spelled that right. Ultimate shaman. We've got... Well, let me check and keep track of the order of things. Fubuki, our ultimate ninja. Nyansame. We've got Melia, our ultimate mixologist. And Cottony. Thank you for the Jack Redeem helicopter. But yeah, Cottony Mastermind. Honestly, I mean, it could be. Lots of the Masterminds hide pretty under the radar. Puppo and Fubuki work it out in the remix. That's so true. Girl, so confusing. But yeah, no, so I can reveal a little bit behind the scenes, I guess, here about in terms of like what was going on, because there's some things that people mention. If anyone has any questions about like what was going on throughout some of it or the behind the scenes of it, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything. If you've got any suggestions or any ideas, anything you want clarified, let me know. One of the things I will mention is that it really, like, as you guys know now, that simulation fucking loves a double kill. Like, it will not miss an opportunity. I had to run the simulation, each of the simulations, probably at least 20 times solely to get rid of the double kill in the first round. I don't know how many times I reset in total. It was a lot, though, just for the double kill thing. There were a few times where I also had to reset because, like, multiple times it would just be like, Puppo, actually, there were a few, the only times where Henrik survived all the way to the end were the ones where it was like exclusively my like friends who made it. So I was like, I can't keep those rounds, because if it was like Puppo and Daz, Leo, Henrik, Tarth, and Apollo who were the final 6, I'd be like, okay, well that's like kind of bullshit. Like that's all just my friends. That would feel like I'm, you know, it would seem like I'd reset it until I got my friends. So I basically just kept going that. But yeah, yeah. The simulation is so funny because it did, like, Puppo voting for Fubuki every time was a random thing. Puppo only voted for Luciana once. Actually, let me go through the voting record a little bit. So, in terms of our survivors, Cammy got 2 votes against, was involved in 0 ties, and voted correctly 1 of the 5 times. Cottony had 4 votes against, was part of 1 tie, and had a 1 out of 5 voting record as well. Fubuki had 10 votes against, 3 ties, and was correct 2 out of the 5 times. Jaewon had 4 votes against, was in 1 tie, and had a 1 out of 5 voting record. Out of the current executions, oh shit. Squidgies or deaths? I think those ones were really fun to me. I think, yeah, I had a lot of fun with that one because I felt like because I also didn't want it to be like, I didn't want it to be like everyone who died early was gonna get nothing out of it. Especially like, you know, if you're the first victim, then it's like, oh cool, I guess you're just no longer in the picture. Which is also why like in the voting screens they still showed up, and also because that made it easier to like keep the template of it and make the new ones. But also because I was like, yeah, like putting this storyline with Death and Leo and Henrik means that I can keep bringing Henrik back for a little bit, make it part of it more. Yeah. Also, Nansome had 2 votes against, was part of 0 ties, and was wrong every single time. And Puppo had 5 votes against, was part of 1 tie, and had a 0 out of 5 voting record. Although it is important to mention that 4 of the 10 votes that Fubuki got were from Puppo, which was, I don't think that happened in many of the other ones. There wasn't really anyone who was being targeted that way, which was really funny to work with. Yeah, so our victims. Henrik had no chances to vote. Yuki had 1 vote against in the first round, was part of no ties, but did get their vote correct in that round. Fubuki. Leo, also dead in chapter 2, had 1 vote against, was part of no ties, and did not get it right in the first chapter. Daz, who was killed in chapter 3, had managed to accumulate 3 votes against him, was part of 1 tie, and had an 0 for 2 voting record. Yes, I believe, in my mind, you did wear the boxing gloves right to the end. Luciana died in chapter 3, had 1 vote against, 0 ties, and was also wrong in both votes that they were part of. Apollo, dying in chapter 4, had 4 votes against, was part of 0 ties, but had a perfect voting record, 3 for 3. Apollo was right every time. Joffie died in chapter 4, had 4 votes, or chapter 5, 4 votes against, was part of 0 ties, and was right once out of 4 times. And Mo, also dead in chapter 5, had 3 votes against, 0 ties, and a 0 for 4 voting record. Squidgy died in chapter 1 as the Black End, had 3 votes against, part of 0 ties, and was also wrong in the first vote, obviously. Death in chapter 2 had 2 votes against, was part of 1 tie, in the one where he died, and also was wrong in both of his votes. Tarth in chapter 3 had 5 votes against him in total, 0 ties, and was also wrong in all 3 of his votes. Felix in chapter 4 had 6 votes against, was part of 2 ties, and actually was right in 1 of the votes. 1 out of 4, 25%. And Reverie, dying in chapter 5, had 2 votes against. Your only votes were in the final round. was part of one tie with Fubuki and had a 2 out of 5 voting record. The best voting record was Apollo's, but the best voting record out of everyone who survived to the end was Fubuki. So I guess it would technically be tied with Reverie, but Reverie did not make it. So yeah, Fubuki got the queen of the vote, both in terms of against and correct. But yeah, I think someone mentioned it earlier on. I did kind of have sort of people who kind of became protagonists of the story a little bit in my mind. To me, Fubuki was kind of the one that did, mostly because it was just really funny that Puppo kept voting against her. It kind of was just like, I guess that's just what I'm going to roll with. Ultimate Time Robot, so true. But yeah, this is so much fun. Oh, God damn it. This is, what? I keep on trying to upload the Just Dance VoD and it keeps on blocking it because for whatever reason, Flowrida is real protective of Club Can't Handle Me. It's the only song that gets blocked in all territories and it pisses me off. And it's not even like a main song it's performing. It's literally just like the title song. I hate it. Anyway, sorry, that's a distracted thing. But yeah, the other 3. So, like I said, we're going to have 2 more normal quote-unquote seasons. We're going to have Frozen Frenzy, which... I don't have the screens for those. But let me get our cast list. I have that somewhere in here. Frozen Frenzy. Yeah, it'll be a winter season. So Frozen Frenzy has Looney Frinkleboom, our ultimate jokester, Zabi Zin, our ultimate lap dancer, Sylvie Spark, our ultimate himbo, Fossil, our ultimate silly puppy with 9 exclamation points. That's important. Ryoku, Platinum, our ultimate MMA fighter, Tenchi, our ultimate rapper, Vike, our ultimate yandere, Brielle Foxfire, our ultimate information broker, Hikaru Hayashi, our ultimate broker. Interesting that 2 people have one of the very similar talents. Arya, the ultimate siren. Yeah. Starani, I think. Staranai. I had a pronunciation thing and I forgot about it. The ultimate bard. Mint Bowsy, our ultimate artist. Captain Ryza, excuse me, the ultimate swashbuckler. Bonnie Guild, the ultimate herbalist. Puffy, the ultimate sangomancer. Corridor Arvos, the ultimate alien. Tetris Citadel, the ultimate ornithologist. And Julian C. Valentine, the ultimate monarch. Oh shit, sorry, there was an ad break. I apologize. I've been trying to snooze them so I didn't interrupt any of that. I'm sorry. Hold on, we'll wait until people get back. Multiplication of killing games. Yeah, exactly. Kamala Harris laugh insert. I can't stop myself from making fucking you exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you. Because I just think that's really funny. Ad for Warframe 90. I don't know what Warframe 99 is. Do I love Venn diagrams? Maybe. But anyways, we also have our Despair Downpour arc now that people are back from the ad. Another 19 people. We have Demi, the ultimate dancer. Lunex Carusu, the ultimate rebel leader. Bo Astra, the ultimate tour guide. Jinx Yosei, the ultimate fae. Draco, the ultimate cryomancer. Kiefer, the ultimate researcher. Shotaro Kobayashi, the ultimate investigator. I have seen that Stitch and it fucking ruins my life. Anyways, Althemia Melee, the ultimate Hawaiian spirit. Haya, the ultimate innkeeper. Bajin, the ultimate contract creator. Kumio, the ultimate shapeshifter. Crimson Cyclo, the ultimate musician. Rain, the ultimate actor. Bobachino, the ultimate cyborg soldier. Yukihime, the ultimate magus. I can't remember. I don't know why my brain doesn't ever process how to say that word properly. Anyways, Astian Higlifer, also another name that I need to go back to my pronunciation. Magus? Okay. Anyways, Astian, the ultimate tuner. Fran, exclamation point, the ultimate dapper bomb. And Zafira, the ultimate insight. I'm sorry, Astian. I don't know what, like, I feel like I had it in my mind. I've talked about this before. One of my issues with pronunciation is I'll say it wrong and then I'll get corrected. And then in my head, I'm like, wait a sec. I know that the one that first comes to mind is the wrong one. But is the correction the one that's now coming to mind first? Or is the old wrong way of saying it coming? And that usually happens to me for about a month of whatever I'm saying wrong. But yeah, that's our rosters. That's who will be in the next ones. I'm very excited. I'm having fun with this. This has been such a good time. I'm so glad I did this instead of just doing a Smash or Pass. But yeah. And remember, there will be 6 survivors from each group. All of them. Puppo, why are you? Aw. It's making me happy that people are posting these. Anyways. Okay. My favorite streamer. You're being silly, Leo. There's so many good streams. But yeah. Tomorrow there's going to be no stream on the channel because I will be volunteering for the Smash. That's very valid. Some people did get smashed. I mean, I guess we got more crushed than smashed, but still. But anyways, yeah. Let me see who's live. We'll see who we can raid out to. I want to see if I can raid out to one of the people who's in one of the other groups. Or in this group. I don't know if anyone in this group is still alive. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, all dead. Well, not all. We've got some survivors. Yeah, hold on, who else is live? Okay, there's a lot of people live right now, but I don't remember. Anyone who's in this group who's alive that we can raid out to? I don't think so. Let me see. I tried my best. But yeah, actually, okay. Bo Astra's live right now. Bo's gonna be in one of the next groups. Bo's part of the Despair Downpour group. So we're not the next one on Thursday, but the one on Saturday. Again, also, if you haven't already, make sure, or if you want to check out the trailer, you can find it in the pinned comment. I really am proud of that trailer. I've never really edited anything like that, so I'm glad it turned out. And to be fair, you also did cave in someone else's face. But anyways, raid messages. Raid message 1. This one's for subscribers. It has dancey emotes and everything. It'll be very... Oh god, I can't copy paste my own emote or my own raid message. Maybe the murderer. Maybe. Who knows? You might have killed someone. Anyways, that's raid message number 1 for subscribers. Raid message number 2 for everybody. We're going to raid out to Bo, Astra, assuming that they're not... They haven't... Yeah, they're still going. Okay, cool. So yeah, we'll raid out to Bo. Thank you again for being here. This has been so much fun. I've had a really good time doing this. I'm glad that everyone else seems to be having fun too. Oh yeah, last thing also, make sure to check out the VoD's channel so that you don't, if you want to keep up with them and you're not able to make it to all of it, or if you just want to review it, whatever, this one will be up at 9 a.m. The others will also go up. And yeah. Thank you again, everybody. I really do appreciate it. This feels like, this has been so much fun. Anyways. Have a good one, everybody. Thank you for stopping by. I hope I'll see you soon, either on Thursday. We'll be doing Dance Central 3 on Friday as well, so I'll be still sore and in pain. Despair Downpour on Saturday, Summertime Stars on Sunday. And yeah. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you soon. Goodbye. And make sure to say hi to Bo. Bah.